Ayan. So thank you very much, Miss Jani Silva, for that warm welcome. So as mentioned by Jani nga, no, we are so excited for everyone to learn about the BSCN program. And we hope that we can convince you to take this course. And on a side note, let's all advocate for proper nutrition.
Yes, there's so much to learn in terms of community nutrition. So we hope that you are all settled and comfortable. Alam mo, Dave, our event for today is really exciting because we will be hearing from resource speakers who are distinguished in their fields.
Ayan. So that's very exciting. So kayo ba mga participants, excited na ba kayo? And so I hope so because now we will be introducing our first speaker.
That's right, Dave. Our first speaker for today is Mr. Aaron Andrew Bonifacio, RND. Mr. Bonifacio is a graduate of the University of the Philippines, Diliman, BS Community Nutrition. He is currently taking his Master's in Public Health in the Health Promotion and Education track at UP Manila. Currently, he is also an instructor at the Department of Food Science and Nutrition at the College of Home Economics, UP Diliman. He is the College of Home Economics representative to the UP Community Health and Development Program. He is a member of the Council of Deans and Heads of Nutrition Dietetics, Nutritionist Dietitian Association of the Philippines, Philippine Association of Nutrition, and the Philippine Society of Nutritionist Dietitians Incorporated. He is also the current faculty advisor of the University of the Philippines Red Cross Youth. Without further ado, let us welcome with a virtual round of applause, Mr. Aaron Bonifacio, RND.
I forgot I gave you that picture. Masyadong nakakabata yung letrato na yan, no? Grad pic ko pa yan eh. Pasensya na, ha? Can I share my slides, though?
Sir.
Sige. Okay, una sa lahat, congratulations Pan Alpha, no? We have how many? 150 participants now. So, give yourselves a round of applause. Minus Pan Alpha. Ilan ba ang Pan Alpha dyan? Ilan kayo ngayon?
Around mga 30 po ata, sir. Basta marami.
Marami po tayong manonood sa FB Live ngayon, sir.
Okay. Pressure naman. Nakaka-pressure naman tong pinapagawa niyo sa akin. But, in any case, sige, wait lang. Let me share my slides. Pa-enable naman. Thank you. So, sa mga old students ko na nandito, hi. Kamusta kayo?
Shout out, Sir Aaron.
Oo. Sino to? Si Andre. Tawa naman ako sa lineup eh, no? Lahat naman naging estudyante ko. Ako na pinaka-senior dito. And I'm not that old either. Yon, okay. So, wait lang. Okay, wait lang ah. Baka mag-ano eh. Okay. So, hi everyone. Good morning sa lahat ng ating participants. I'm glad na malaki yung reach ng seminar ito. I think it has been a limitation of the program na typically 30 to 40 students per batch lang kami, but I guess like yung kanina sinabi ng speakers ay ng ating nutritionists, more RNDs in the field, practicing the field, simply because malnutrition is not going away. It's not going away anytime soon, and lalo na sa information age, ang daming misinformation about food, and ang daming systemic problems in the world, in the Philippines. We really need more action, people of action, no, to really create change. Anyway, I'm Aaron Bonifacio from the Department of Food Science and Nutrition. So ito ang kagawaran ng agham sa pagkain at nutrisyon, Kolehiyo ng Ekonomiyang Pantahanan, Universidad ng Pilipinas, Diliman. So welcome sa seminar na to, and I think I'll try to keep my presentation brief. Mas gusto ko sanang magsagot ng mga any questions that you might have regarding the program. No? So this will be a quick, a short introduction to what BS Community Nutrition is. We have actually part of your curriculum, if ever you will be in the program, is to talk about the practice and the history of the profession. No? So ito yung aking pangalan. If you have any questions regarding the program or this talk, you may email me there. No? So the questions na gustong sagot na pinapasagot sa akin ng Pan Alpha this morning are how did the discipline of ND, or nutrition and dietetics come to be? When and how did the discipline of the ND emerge in the Philippines? What is community nutrition under CHE in UP Diliman? How is it different from other programs in the Philippines, other colleges and universities? Ano yung mga subjects? So do I need to talk about this in detail or just, broad? Pero nilagay ko na lang dyan yung syllabus natin. Just have a quick peek kasi nga there have been major changes in the program ever since the implementation of the K-12. So baka magulat kayo na it is not the same program as yung tinapos ko back in the day. And ano ba ginagawa daw ng students ng community nutrition? And why should you choose to tick that box in your UPCAT form to choose community nutrition in UP Diliman? So general lang. So you will see here our logo of the college. It represents the family, the person, the community, and that I think is one of the most unique thing about specifically the community nutrition program is we are housed under the College of Home Economics. So so shout out dyan sa mga mahilig sa home econ, no? So kakaiba kami kasi home economics is an interdisciplinary field, no? What do I mean when I say interdisciplinary? We are a mix of different professions, no? Or professionals as well. So nandito yung family life and child development, clothing, textiles, interior design, home economics education, hotel, restaurant, and institution management, and of course, food science and nutrition. So we are all catering to that, to specifically cater to the needs of the family, of the Filipino family. No? So it's different versus other universities or colleges na, for example, ng HRIM ay nasa tourism, kasama sa tourism, or interior design kasama sa architecture, ganon. So sa ibang universities, ang community nutrition and food science is under College of Education. In UPLB, nutrition is under human ecology. So depende kasi yun sa philosophy, where it came to be. So and specifically here, the BS Community Nutrition was instituted in the College of Home Economics to help students utilize knowledge and nutrition and related fields. So maraming other fields related to nutrition like health, maraming fields under health specifically, even sociology, anthropology, and all that affects the way we eat. And it is done to promote the nutrition well-being of individuals, groups within the framework of family and community life. So makikita natin dito sa sa drawing yan. Ito yung tao and members of the family under the home, the household, basic unit, diba, of society, and also the circle is the community. So more of micro perspective, sa small units versus a very national, very systemic but that doesn't mean that kinakalimutan natin yun, alam lang natin na we need to organize and to capacitate yung pinaka maliit na unit ng ating society, kasi nga masyado na tayong run by corporations, by politicians, na minsan nawawala yung kapangyarihan sa pamilya. And a quick history lang. So nagsimula siya. Bakit sa CHE? Well, in fact kasi nagsimula ang College of Home Economics as a program lang siya ng College of Education, no? So it's BSHE, major in food and nutrition in 1939, no, 1940s. Then na-rename siya into BHHE, major in ND nung na-establish na yung ND profession in the Philippines, no? Siguro baka hindi pa pinanganak yung mga magulang nyo nan. Then, no, nung naging BSCN na talaga siya nung 1972. So, mga panahon ng martial law. And it is, nung medyo maganda-ganda pa, no, yung hindi natin, alam na magiging, malala pala si Marcos. But anyway, yon. So, there were many, nakita natin na malaking problema malnutrition, specifically undernutrition in those times, no? So, kung makita ninyo yung ating national nutrition data, in the 1970s lang naman nag-start na institutionalize yung mga surveys, and nakita nga na there's a dire need to have nutrition professionals, no, in the field. Yun. So, ay, Ma'am Vega, nandyan pala kayo. Wow, nakakaya naman. Okay, may NNC. Anong pala po tayo dito? Hello po, ma'am. Nakakaano. So anyway, so in the Philippines, we are the profession is closely guided by the National Nutrition Council. So it's this council kasi din siya, parang attached agency siya. So before nag-start siya under DOH, tapos naging under Department of Agriculture, tapos bumalik ulit sa DOH. So ngayon, attached siya ng DOH. In the 1970s, no, na-create ang NNC. So para siyang specifically national agency to address nutrition, no, the nutrition concerns, maging technical advisor pagdating sa mga pagplanning sa mga programs ng Philippines. But yun nga, they can only really do is to be a technical advisor given that yung health system natin sa Pilipinas ay devolved. Ibig sabihin, bahala si mayor, si governor, si barangay captain, depende sa kanila ang pag-implement ng mga health and nutrition programs. So doon din na-create yung nutrition with this naka-stick on yung function NNC, and yung alam din yun na Nutrition Month, no, kung kailan kayo nagde-dress up na gulay, nag-drawing ng mga kung ano-anong poster at gumagawa na slogan, ay dahil yan yun sa batas na yan, no. Kasi daw dapat kumain lang July, no. Okay. Sino ba nag-joke nun? Tawa naman kayo. Hindi ko alam kung nakikinig pa kayo, no. Anyway, siguro maganda yung mag-post kayo, no, kung ano yung mga ginawa ninyo ng Nutrition Month, elementary at high school. So, in the history of governance on how the ND profession was, in the 1960s, no, doon nagkaroon ng Republic Act, no, to regulate the practice of ND in the Philippines. And nung nagkaroon na yung board exam talaga, no, was in the 1977. So it was again close siya sa paggawa ng Nutrition Act of the Philippines. So diyan nakala-state kung sino yung mga dapat ng Board of Examiners, ano yung qualifications. So ang qualifications niyan as syempre nakapagtapos sa isang BS Nutrition and Dietetics program, may amount of hours in practicum sa hospital, sa community at sa food service, yung Filipino, mga ganyan yung mga doon naka-state kung paano ka mag-take ng board exam. Dahil the profession of nutritionist of Nutrition and Dietetics in the Philippines is regulated by the PRC, no? Kumpara sa iba. So kailangan maging klaro yan na hindi kahit sino pwedeng maging wellness or nutrition coach or what have you. For one to be able to give nutrition advice, he, she, or they must be a registered nutritionist, dietitian, board passer from the PRC. So dapat klaro 'yon. So kung merong mga nagtatanong diyan, may mga expert diyan sa social media, pwede niyo silang batikusin, no? At hindi natin sigurado kung sila ay RNDs. Kasi nga ang daming maraming misinformation. Any misinformation about food can have direct consequences, 'di ba? Lalo na ngayon sa panahon na hindi naman nauubos yung mga fad diets, 'di ba? Yung mga pampapayat, no? Pag nagsa-summer na, kahit na mga artista may mga pinopromote, and malungkot nga kasi hindi masyadong maingay ang RND minsan, no? Kaya kailangan tayo sama-sama tayo, no? Na we really need to correct misinformation. So is BS Community Nutrition different, no, from other professions or programs in the Philippines? It's yes and no, no? Kasi we are all regulated by the PRC. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng ND, no, programs kasama ang BSCN ay regulated. Pare-pareho tayong kumuha ng NDLE or Nutritionist Dietitian Licensure Examination. And pag pumasa ka, pare-pareho naman kaming RNDs. Nag-iiba lang, meron tayong parang base syllabus or curriculum, and minsan may iba-iba lang sa pangalan lang. Yung iba BS Nutrition, iba BS Nutrition and Dietetics, tayo BS Community Nutrition. And specifically kasi sa atin, merong mas focus sa community, sa public health, no? Pero that doesn't mean na hindi ka pwede mag-practice sa clinical, sa research, sa food service. Yun. So, yun lang yung something unique about community nutrition. Okay. But if you have other questions, no, just put it in the chat. Maybe I can, So, yan. So, shout out dyan sa ating mga, esteemed guests na graduate ng BSCN program in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. No? Okay. So, general lang, ang syllabus natin ay ngayon, no? So, ang CHED naman, nag-create na sila na technical working group under CHED na to harmonize, no, the different, together with NNC and the councils and deans and heads of nutrition and dietetics programs in the Philippines. They standardize and harmonize the syllabus, no? Pero yun, kanya-kanya pa rin sila in how to curate, no, their curriculum depending on the college, university. So, yan, definitely meron tayong general education subjects, PE, NSTP. Very heavy in chem, no? Specifically the BSCN program, hindi namin pa tinanggal yung other chemistry simply because may other programs kasi na ang start nila ay higher chem. But dahil din we didn't para accessible yung program na kahit na hindi ka STEM, no, you can take the program na you can go to the SCHEM series, no, para hindi ka nahihirapan kasi meron din kaming mga from other strands in senior high school. So it's from general chemistry, analytical, organic, and of course may huli natin, Chem 40, biochem, no? So biochem is the foundation kasi of nutrition, 'di ba? How it functions, how we eat, then how it is digested, no? Utilized, transported, absorbed by the body. So yun. So we have our non-FN courses. I think ito yung parang a bit different from other colleges and universities kasi meron tayong home economics common courses, no? So ito yung tinitake ng lahat ng CHE students, like your ethics and values, you have your philosophy, no? Family and family life, yun, and philosophy. Then meron kaming added then regarding para home management. So how to adult, yan. May bagong na-institute na course. We also have Sociology 11, no, Philippine Sociology, to give you a context of the Philippine situation. Statistics, of course. I think ito yung yung community development and community organizing subjects. So meron tayo yan under the College of Social Welfare and Community Development. Nagtitake kayo ng courses na ganyan, no, para mas malaman ninyo yung talagang sitwasyon sa komunidad, no, paano ba i-engage ang masa, paano kunin ang kanilang suporta, no, paano nila babaguhin ang kanilang sariling sitwasyon. And of course, yung ating Rizal, PI 100. So you have your FN courses, groups ko na lang tayo di-discuss. You have your clinical nutrition. So yan yung basics ng nutrition yan. What are the nutrients, no? How it is utilized by the body, saan siya nanggagaling, what are the different nutritional needs in the different stages of life, no, from from conception, from womb to tomb, no? So pag-aaralan niyo yan, no? Mga vulnerable groups. Then, of course, nandun din yung clinical practicum, yung hospital dietetics practicum. So, doon kayo mag-i-internship sa hospital. Then, of course, you have your food service. So, kailangan, syempre, alam din yun ninyo paano magluto, di ba? Ang hirap, magbibigay ka ng advice, no? What to do, what to eat, pero hindi mo naman alam paano siya i-prepare. So, kailangan yung management, no? How food is prepared, no? Served in the home, and even in bigger institutions, dapat alam natin. So, medyo may overlap to with HRIM, and that's perfectly fine, no? Ganun naman talaga. Then, of course, we have your public health. So how these two, the knowledge from food service and foods and clinical and hospital dietetics, how can they be implemented in prevention, no, and promotion? So how do we prevent disease? No, how do we create programs, no, that help people make the right choices, no, when it comes to their diets and the food that they eat? No, how do we regulate yung mga misinformation, yung mga corporations na medyo may ibang agenda when it comes to food. And of course, research. So sa new program natin, no, required na ang thesis. So FN 200. So you will undergo a full thesis. Okay, siguro dadaanan ko na ito ng bilis, pero basically the whole program medyo mabigat siya ngayon, no? Kasi nga the caveat of having the chem series is yung iba kasi yung biochem kaagad, yung first year, first sem. So tayo dahil may chem series pa, medyo naging mahigpit yung ating curriculum, and with that, wala tayong mid-year break. So ibig sabihin like kayong may course during mid-year. So we are sorry for that, pero that's one way we can ensure that you can really be in the best NDs, no, pagdating sa after graduating from this program. Ayun. So FN 101, that's where you talk about introduction to the practice. FN 102 is principles in food preparation. Nandiyan na yung socio. Then Chem 16 general chem. Chem 26 is analytical, at I think tama ba? Analytical to. 31 or nagkabaliktad ako. But anyway, yun. So FN 121 is nutrition, physiology and anatomy and physiology. So learning about the body. Okay? Then Chem 40, biochemistry. Then you will talk about FN 122 is principles in nutrition. So nandiyan na yung different nutrition, micronutrients, macro micronutrients, no? Pag isa-isahin niyo yan. FS 106 is general food microbiology, CD11 community development. Ano ba to? 1 2 3. This is nutrition assessment and epidemiology. So how to assess a person, no, paano yung mga malnutrition, how to assess that. Talking about population din, no, yung mga studies like when you talk about stunting, yan yung mga bakit ba yan? Bakit yan yung ginagamit natin mga measures to pinpoint malnutrition in the population. So 131 is this is dietary patterns. Yeah. 143 is community organizing. Yeah. HE 100, yan yung mga common courses natin. So kung makikita nyo, may mid-year ulit, FN 124, yan yung nutrition in the life cycle. So may konting din yan, field work. Then third year, ayan na tayo. So clinical nutrition yung FN 125, diet therapy. So talking about the different diseases, no, how nutrition management is implemented in different diseases, no. So basta yung mga 1-3, 1-2, yan yung clinical. 1-3, yan yung mga food service and foods, no. So yung 132, 133, yan yung ating 132 is food basics in food processing. Then you have 133 is yung food service management. No, 141 is your nutrition education. So yan yung tinuturo ko. 134 your another food service management. 141.1 dyan yung nutrition education din yan. So nagpunta na kayo sa field, nagtuturo kayo sa actual people, no? Nagtuturo kayo, nag-implement kayo ng nutrition classes, ganun. 142, that's nutrition program management. So we talk about how to create programs that are sustainable, participatory, etc. And 199 yan na yung research. So talking about the different aspects of nutrition research. Oh, then ito nadagdag to, yung 136, that's your food service practicum, 6 units of practicum that translates to 300 hours, no, food service. So magpupunta kayo, mag kayo, so pwedeng government cafeteria, school cafeteria, pwede rin sa mga sa mga restaurant, private owned mga food service establishment. So yan. So mag-internship kayo doon. Then ito yung pinakamabigat, I think, yung FN126, ito yung Hospital and Dietetics Practicum. So that's 600 hours, no? 12 units. So buong SEM nasa hospital lang kayo. Meron din kasing aspect din yan, kalahati na aspect yan is food service din, no? So nahati kasi yung hospital sa your therapy, no? Then your clinical, then your food service. So yung clinical, sila yung mga nagpupunta sa mga pasyente, nagbibigay ng nutrition advice, no? Yung kanilang nag-i-interpret ng kanilang diet therapy for them. Okay, then may half of it is yung food service din nun. Siyempre, yung how food is prepared in the hospital setting. Yon. Then your 146 is, ito tinuturo ko din to, yung field practicum. So yan yung nagsistay kayo sa community for 7 weeks, 300 hours din yan, no, staying with a foster family, no, helping a barangay, no, craft their own nutrition activities, 'di ba, for sustainability. So life-changing yan, yung practicum na yan. So kaya mahal ko yan na tinuturo. Then FN200 is thesis, no. So ayan. So why BSCN? I think ako personally, kasi ako hindi naman ako original CN, no. I'm shifty from engineering, no. Like most engineering students na umaalis na engineering, but nung naintindihan ko na something, the food is something that eating is something that we do every day, and I like cooking, no. I like helping other people, and I think this is just, no, it's a good mix of everything that I personally like, no. It's my passion, no? It's my calling, I think, no. So malaking bagay when you talk about food, and this is one of no, the biggest modifiable factor na kaya natin prevent, kasi we made good strides in talking about tobacco control, no. Marami, smoking has decreased significantly, no. Yan yung mga pag-iinom, nare-regulate din natin yan. But when we talk about food and diet, I think ito yung isang vice na we don't really, it's very different, no. We don't really think about food in that light na it can be a vice, no. So with that, no, nagiging parang puntahan din siya ng tao, 'di ba? Kung meron tayong stress, no, marami tayong comfort food. So we don't really think about it sometimes, but we are actually doing more harm than good to our bodies. Essentially, when we talk about food, what we put in, that becomes part of us, 'di ba? So if we eat trash, 'di ba, we become trash, 'di ba? Our bodies will not function properly. So gusto mo, kapag may kotse ka, tamang gasolina. Kung gusto mo, nagpapatayo ka ng bahay, tamang mga materyales, no? Hindi kulang, hindi sobra. So ganun din pagdating sa nutrition. And it's a blend of art and science. I think hindi ako nabobore, because you can make food different, 'di ba? You can create different dishes, no? We can create different programs, no? Bahala ka. And it's not just na it's not purely science na ano ang dapat kainin, kasi means alam natin, no? Alam na natin yung dapat kainin, mahalaga sa ating dieta, pero ano problema natin? So maraming problema pagdating sa food system, no, how we see ourselves, how we see food. So we have to talk about that as well. And with that, no, there's a blend in theory, in research, no, in practice, in research, and in public service. So ako very extension oriented or public service oriented. I really like being in the field, no, being with people, learning what we can do to help them, di ba? Kasi ano pa yung ating mga natututunan kung hindi natin to na a-apply, no? Hindi to nagagamit para sa kabutihan ng mamamayan natin, no? So puro aral, 'di ba sabi, research ng research. So siguro may kakulangan din may kakulangan ang universidad, may kakulangan ng ating mga professionals to really communicate the research and the theory into actual practice, no? Into actual policies na naiintindihan ng masa. And yun, pasok din siya sa priority programs ng DOST. So, naasikaso natin to recently. So, yes, pasok na siya. Ayan. And siguro kumpara sa iba na programs, hindi ko ito sinasabi na but I think BSCN is a very community, people-centric approach to healthcare and nutrition. So, I think being UP in general, no, kasi para nga sa masa, no, scholar ng bayan. Nandito tayo, nag-aaral tayo dito para sa Pilipino, para sa ibang tao, hindi para sa atin. Hindi para yumaman tayo, hindi para magkaroon tayo, magkaroon ng prestige, 'di ba? It's really just parang because we want to change, no? We want to change the world, we want to change the Philippines, we want to change our country, we want to help our countrymen. So that's basically it, no? So if hindi mo naisip 'yun, kung walang malaking drive yun for you, you can look at other programs. Wala namang masama doon, no? Kasi I think yun parang pasensya na pag nag-UP ka, para sa akin bago ka graduate, dapat naintindihan mo na ang kaluluwa mo ay talagang para sa bayan, no? So kaya nga oblation, 'di ba? Kaya nga nakahubad si Oble doon. It's really stripping down and giving your all to the country. So yun, so UP na, CHE pa. So yun. So ilang minutes pa ba ako? Meron pa bang Siguro lang, just to give, aside from this, like some data na, yon, for example, like the Philippines, no, tumatanda tayo, so mas nagiging apparent yung ating NCDs or non-communicable diseases. So very apparent na yan, yung mga heart disease, renal disease, diabetes. So yun yung mga disease na mas nagiging prevalent kasi nga humahaba ang buhay ng tao and mas kailangan tayo doon. And kung makita lang niyo here in this data na karamihan talaga, no maraming heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes, lahat yan hypertensive is may relationship sa food. Okay? So we've been dealing with that since ilang dekada na. And yun, and what I've mentioned earlier, for example here, what risk factors drive most deaths and disability. Number 3 and 4, malnutrition and dietary risks. And even high blood pressure is part of that, 'di ba? So the main point is unlocking so related din dito, for example, high fasting plasma glucose, that's related to your diabetes as well, di ba? High body mass index, yung obesity and overweight. So related lahat yan. Kidney dysfunction, alcohol use, that's related to food, no? High low density lipoprotein, so that is high cholesterol. And again, food, di ba? So pa, 'di ba? Parang kung may gusto kang parang yun. So it's very practical as a practical course. And you can, and just to share some of the mga ginawa ng mga students ko. Baka meron ditong picture yung iba diyan, but minsan sobrang proud ako, hindi ko na napipicturean yung mga ginagawa nila. So yeah, this is specifically for FN1 65.1 or 141.1, no. Ito yung mga nagawa nila sa field, no, around Quezon City, nag-implement sila ng mga ganyang practice. Tuturo sila sa community, nagtitrain sila ng mga barangay health workers, mga mga barangay nutrition scholars, no. Wala nga akong picture ng mga practicum nila . Mas marami pa silang nagagawa doon, no. So, nagpracticum na kami sa Bataan, sa Cavite, sa Batangas, no. So ngayon Cavite partner, pero in the next couple of years magiging iba naman. For our practicum, we are working with UP Manila. So kapag nag-practicum ka sa atin ng community nutrition, kasama mo yung other health and medicine professionals. So nandun yung mga medicine students, you have your nurses, your public health students, you have your dentists, you have so yung other UP Manila courses yon. So we do our field practicum with them to have that interdisciplinary education approach. And very ako very ko doon. I'm a firm believer of that kasi healthcare team kayo pagdating sa field and sa profession. Hindi pwedeng kanya-kanya tayo. Kailangan naintindihan din natin yung ginagawa ng ating mga kasangga, no, sa field. Okay, ayan. So nagturo sila na Christmas party to ng mga elderly. Ayan, okay. So gumagawa sila ng mga so ayan, na-appreciate, no? So natutuwa ako every time kasi it's natutuwa din yung estudyante kapag naririnig nila yung gratitude ng mga natutulungan nila sa community. Kahit na it will just be for one activity or for the practicum for 7 weeks, kahit na maikli lang, napapamahal talaga sila sa komunidad, no? Ayan. So, yan, tinuturo sila about hypertension, no? Saan ba nanggagaling yung sodium sa pagkain, mga alternatives. Hindi lang lagi kasi tinuturo natin na anong bawal. Kailangan magbigay din tayo ng mga practical na gabay, no? Paano gawin nila yun sa kanilang bahay, sa kanilang tahanan. So, yan yung sinabi, I think yung mga videos talking about the first 1,000 days, no? Yung preventive, yung kaya natin i-prevent, no? Kasi yung stunting, hindi natin masasagot kapag pinakain natin sila sa elementary school. We have to start from conception, no. Ma-healthy si nanay, makapag-exclusive breastfeeding siya, maganda yung kanyang complementary feeding after 6 months. So yan din. So NCD sa mga nakakatanda, mga graduate na 'tong mga batang 'to. So, ito yung mga I think pinaka-creative pag nagtuturo ng nutrition concept sa mga bata, no, sa mga elementary and preschool children. So, gumagawa sila ng mga sarili nila tong katha, no, yung mga storybooks kasi nga I really para encourage my students to be creative and pigain, no, yung mga talento nyo na nagagamit yan, no, kung magiling kayo mag-drawing or kahit hindi kayo magaling mag-drawing, baka kaya nyo siya ma-discover dito. But the point is parang may blend nga of art and science, no. You have to look at ways to make the knowledge accessible for all. Ayan. So ayan din sa mga nanay naman, pag-prepare ng masustansyang baon. Okay? So we do this in the community sa mga yan sa mga daycare, sa mga kung saan-saan. Basta kung saan may venue na pwede, doon kami nag-implement. Okay. Ito, very one of the, pinakamasaya, I think, na nagawa ng mga, very iba yung effort talaga ng mga students sometimes. And ako, I'm blown away din. So, yan. So, marami yan. Set of different activities, very engaging for preschool children. No? Talking about prutas at gulay, diba? So, ayan. So, iba gumagawa din ng mga like yun. So, sabi natin, hindi lang naman kailangan lagi food. Related ang hygiene, no? Hand washing. So, paggawa ng mga songs, no? Ayan, pagiging creative, paggawa din ng sariling kanilang storybook. Ayan. Kasi mahirap na rin copyright, di ba? So, kailangan gumawa tayo ng sariling atin. Ayun, so those are just some of my sharings. Hopefully, it gave you some background on what BSCN is, no? Ako definitely it's a very worthwhile program, specifically if you really want to help other people in this specifically in this field, no, of food and nutrition. Ayun. So, thank you very much for listening. If you have questions, I think mas gusto ko ganyan. So, we'll really have a conversation here kahit na we are 199 participants now, no? So, yun. So, thank you, Pan-Alpha, for this, this opportunity. Stop share ko na ba? Ayan.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing with that very informative talk. So if you guys have questions for Sir Aaron, you may send it through the chat box. And if you are watching via FB Live or YouTube stream, you may comment all your questions and we will raise them during our question and answer portion. Just make sure to address them to the speaker you wish to answer your question.
And so, like what Sir Aaron mentioned, one of the reasons why BS Community Nutrition is unique in the entire Southeast Asia is because of its curriculum. So CN students will have internships in hospitals, in the community, and even in the food service, equipping them with the necessary knowledge and skills in pursuing different career options as an registered nutritionist and dietitian.
And speaking of career options, why don't we show to our participants the many different career options that CN graduates can pursue via this audiovisual presentation.
So it's definitely in the hospital setting. The practice involves patient care, unlike sa public health that you're more in the community or in food service, mostly in the administrative side, for example. Clinical nutrition would deal with people na may sakit pa. It differs depending sa setup ng hospitals. In our case here, it's mostly involved sa inpatient with some na outpatient. We visit all patients who are nutritionally at risk. So you'll eventually go through that in your majors, yung nutrition care process na tinatawag natin. So when they're screened to be at risk for malnutrition, and then all the others na assessment, we monitor, we give counseling, all of those things we provide for patients in the regular room, and then for the ICU, in the ICU also. Like ako specifically now, I'm assigned in the ICU. So all patients in the ICU, of course, they're at risk for malnutrition na. So they're all being seen by the dietitian.
I work from 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. That early. Why early? Because I have to really ensure that the kitchens are clean, the people or the staff are actually complying in terms of personal hygiene, the stocks in the chillers are actually safe to be prepared and consumed by our guests. So daily, I go around. So that's like mga around 6:30 to 9. I go and check the areas where I'm supposed to. I have a task list what I'm supposed to do. And then to check if there are guest complaints or guest feedback from the DM's log or the duty manager's log. If there's such, then I take care of that and I do my own investigations. My task would actually involve yung mga guest complaints then pertaining to food. So food safety or food quality, and then so investigations if there are food in the if there's physical hazard in the food. For example, kanina they showed me a photo. There's a hair on the food, so it entails another parang training na naman. You have to find out what happened. You have to find out what went wrong. Bakit nagkaroon ng buhok sa food.
course we teach, the number of sections. Okay. So meron din Haggard Sem. The regular units kasi is 12 units. So let's say kung 53 units yan for subject of 4 sections, the more varied, the more preparation you need. Before we start the SEM, so usually there's a lot of preparation, ano yung handle mo ng course, and even though you're having the same course, okay, for several times, the preparation may changes pa din eh. Kasi you look into the makeup of the student, mas madami ba to? Kasi before, mas malaki ba to? Or mas konti? May adjustments ba sa activity na gagawin? Teaching strategies, you review their syllabus, kung may babaguhin doon. First, of course, you want to obey. You have a thirst for knowledge kasi you need continuous growth. That's why we got the conferences. The teaching is something that is learned as you do the craft. You also need to understand the makeup of the students. And of course, concern for the students.
The primary thing that I'm busy with right now is helping elite athletes with their nutrition. More on helping them prepare for international competitions. So ito yung mga world championships, world title events. Some of them are gearing up toward the Olympics. As you may know, nasa stage tayo ngayon ng pag-prepare for SEA Games. But the athletes I'm helping are looking more towards the Olympics rather than the SEA Games because SEA Games is just a regional, maliit lang yun na competition. Parang palarong pambansa lang yan ng Southeast Asia. So it's just very small actually. So the athletes I'm helping are focusing more on mga mas malalaki. Olympics, World Championships, World Title fights. Doon majority na uubos ang oras ko because most of them want me to be with them during the competition itself. Sinasama nila ako. Another thing is I'm also helping a professional basketball team sa PBA, yung talk and text. Lagi din akong nandun kasama ng team sa training when they have out-of-town game. Kasama din nila. So basically, yun yung majority ng pinagkakaabalan ko. But on the side, meron din ako mga kino-coach. More on online coaching sila. That also takes a big part of my time because I have to communicate with them. Minsan lang ay kasama ko yung ibang athletes, may kausap ako sa kanila gano'n. I'm also studying under the International Olympic Committee. So yun basically sa professional aspect mo.
Which is Nutrition, Information, and Education Division, we advocate in promoting proper nutrition. So, ako ay under ng Early Childhood Care and Development in the First 1,000 Days Program. Mahaba siya, pero the program aims to reduce stunting sa mga batang 0 to 2 years old. So, ang role ko doon ay sa advocacy. Bali, gumagawa kami ng mga IEC materials, nagko-conduct kami ng training sa mga barangay nutrition scholars, barangay health workers, po-produce kami ng TV show, that's why galing akong IECEP. And gumagawa din kami ng mga TV and radio vlogs na targeted yung pregnant mothers, lactating mothers, saka caregivers ng mga bata 0 to 2 years old. So, mostly nasa promotion part ako na program.
As a nutritionist researcher, we usually conduct mga projects. Then these projects aims to solve a particular malnutrition problem in the country. So once naka-identify na kami ng problem, magkakaroon ng proposal to create a project that will provide a tool or policy or strategy that will address that particular problem. We develop new things so that we can address these particular problems. I've realized that nutrition is a vital component in nation building. The main concept is that nutrition provides you the optimum potential to do whatever things that you need to do. In the future, we may have some engineers or inventors that will be vital in our nation building. However, they need proper nutrition so that they can sustain themselves and they can perform in their optimal functions.
Wow, ayan. So there are so many opportunities for a CN graduate. You can be a sports nutritionist or a food researcher. You can even pursue clinical nutrition in hospitals or proceed to medicine.
Well, it's a good thing that we invited alumni speakers today to share their chosen career path as an R&D and to show how the BSCN program helped them to prepare for their future professions.
And so for our first alumni speaker, she will talk about clinical nutrition as a career path for CN graduates. Alam mo, Reg, we are so lucky kasi despite her very busy schedule as a clinical nutritionist and dietitian, she will still be sharing her experience today with us through a recorded video message. So she is Miss Madeline C. Calalo, RND. She's a graduate of BSCN Nutrition cum laude from the University of the Philippines. She was also hailed top score of the 2014 Nutritionist Dietitian Licensure Examination, and she is currently a nutritionist dietitian and a nutritionist dietitian educator life science at the Life Science Center. So let's welcome Miss Madeline.
Everybody, good afternoon. My name is Matt. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Maddie, and I'm so privileged and happy to be here with you, even if it's just virtually. I apologize if I can't be there or attend live, but I hope that even if I just recorded the video and sharing my insights, you'd get inspired in a way by the profession that I am in. So I am a nutritionist dietitian. I work mostly in the field of clinical nutrition. So when we say clinical nutrition, we do meet patients and help them with their diet. So that's the clinical side of nutrition, meeting patients and discussing with them how they can change their diet. So I work with Life Science Center as a clinical nutritionist dietitian and also as a nutritionist dietitian educator. So my role also has a teaching side to it, and I also discuss nutrition to a variety of health practitioners. I train them on how to look at functional imbalances in the body and how you can use nutrition to support the health and wellness of a certain individual. So what made me get into the profession was mostly because I love food and I love to eat, and it's actually rather selfish na pumunta sa nutrition kasi gusto ko kumain but I don't want to get sick. So our family is exposed to a lot of diseases. I mean, genetically we are predisposed to disease. So I would love to learn how to eat without feeling guilty or without being scared that my food would make me sick. So that's what brought me to the profession, and what's keeping me in the profession is that I get to experience how to encourage people to eat without the guilt as well, and with eat responsibly and to still enjoy their food na even if they have certain restrictions, and that I get to help them also empower people on how to take charge of their health, because a lot of people right now parang nagkasakit and then it's all the end of the world. But no, nutrition is a powerful tool that can help shift the genes na instead of your genetics expressing disease, it can express health. So a lot of our body systems are very much dependent on nutrition, and if you don't get to supply the right nutrients, your body will malfunction. So para siyang kotse na hindi mo binigyan ng proper type of fuel niya. So it's not just giving the amount of fuel, but it's the type of fuel. Diba sa kotse kapag wrong type, diesel car siya, tapos binigyan mo na unleaded, hindi din siya mag-work ng maayos. So, in the same way, our bodies somehow work like that. And I get the privilege to help people move towards health. And actually, in my profession, in my field, I work with a variety of patients. And at the beginning of my work in the center, I was exposed to a lot of kids with autism spectrum disorders. And I think one of the things that really motivate me to stay is I get to see the power of how nutrition can really change lives. There was this father of a kid na may autism that approached me na after doing some changes in the diet, they got to see significant improvements on the child's focus and attention. So, di ba kapag autism, sometimes, some of them can't have focus anywhere, lahat na triggered sila, or they can't really focus on anything. And the dad approached me and said, you know what, we were able to let him leave him alone sa arcade and do the driving. Alam niyo yung driving, 'di ba? May racing sa mga arcade places. And then before kasi the dad would used to let his child sit on the lap tapos i-guide lang niya, but it was their first time to see him do things independently. And that was just after how many weeks of changing the diet. And another thing that I got to experience was a mom telling me that her child was no longer experiencing epilepsy because of the changes that we did in the diet. And these are just like, kahit ako napapa wow na amazing, this is what nutrition can do, and it could help people, and it could also somewhat save lives as well. So that's what's keeping me going in this profession. And and another thing, ang daming may sakit, so hindi kami mawawalan ng trabaho, di ba? Yan. Anyway, that's a side note. But what makes clinical nutrition different from all the other tracks ng nutrition? There are nutrition kasi you have public health, which focuses on the public, a general public group of individuals in a certain area, a community. There's also research in nutrition, so that really focuses on doing research, making new advancements in nutrition. But clinical nutrition is more of the application of all that knowledge that you get from research and helping people apply that knowledge into the food that you eat. So, clinical nutrition is actually helping people eat, know what to eat better for themselves. So, it's different kasi you get to build relationships, intimate relationships with your patients and with your clients, and it's more of like a one-to-one, one-is-to-one thing. And mas tutok ka sa diet ng tao, ng individual, and what's happening in the life of the whole individual. Hindi siya, unlike public health, that you're really looking at the general population instead of looking at the person individually for who he is or who she is talaga. So, there are various skills that are needed to be in a clinical nutrition field, and I think one of them is to be a learner. So you have to be open to new learnings, because nutrition is somewhat a young field. It's compared to other fields of medicine, nutrition is relatively new. So advancements are really coming in fast. Kaya kailangan open ka to learning. And also, I think another important quality is that you are also inclusive. So when I say inclusive, you're open to having other individuals help you in terms of managing a patient. So when it comes to food kasi, hindi lang siya pagkain lang, but the relationship that people have with other people affects the food that they eat, di ba? Pansin nyo ba na when what you eat in a family, apektado ka kasi kung kinakain ng pamilya mo hindi healthy, yun din yung kakainin mo, di ba? Or when you go out with friends and your friends would like to go to mga places na hindi healthy ang pagkain, hindi yun din lang yung kakainin mo, di ba? So social aspects are also very important. So you will need insights from different fields to help a patient change their dietary habits. Another quality maybe I think that's very important is creativity, or yeah, creativity is one, but I think more of being adventurous, being open to trying out new food. So yun yung pinakagusto ko sa profession ko. I get to try out new food, I get to cook in the kitchen and challenge myself as well na how will I let this person eat something healthy that they won't be disgusted with. So, yeah, it's an exciting thing, and you get to know the nitty-gritty of food. And kung mahilig kayo kumain, I think you will enjoy doing nutrition and clinical nutrition. It's really enjoyable for me. Like, our lab is the kitchen, diba? And what you cook, what you experiment on, kayo din yung kakain. So, yun, it's very fun. I really enjoy being that part of nutrition. The eating part. Yan. And then, what else? I think other qualities are well, you'll get to learn the skills along the way. You don't have to be like a perfect person to be in the job or to get into the job. But I think if you love people and you love food and you like helping people know how to better their health, then I think those are enough qualities to get into the job. The skill sets will just be learned along the way, and ayun, the heart is what matters most. Yan. Ano pa? Other skills. I think those are the basic things. Lahat naman ng any type of job, yung typical na openness, learning, all those are needed in all the other jobs. But for clinical nutrition, I think a love for food is very critical. That's one of the things that are critical in the job. And anyway, getting into community nutrition, how it helps me with my current profession, it gave me the foundation of what to know about nutrition, how to deal with people, kasi you get to do interactions din, magsasample din kayo ng doing consults and that. But I think yung pinaka-value that I got from being a community nutritionist is to learn how to empathize with people, whether that would be in a community setting or in a individual one-to-one clinical setting. I think empathy, ayun, I forgot to mention that empathy is one of the qualities that are essential. One of those qualities na essential sa field. Especially with nutrition, people can't just shift their diets immediately, and you really need to meet them where they are. And I think that's one of the things also that I like doing. I like relating with people. But anyway, going back to what community nutrition has helped me with, aside from helping me build that empathy, that consciousness for people, it helped me know, build the foundation of what I should know about my body and about nutrients and how nutrients affect my body. So it helped me become more personally more mindful of yung food na kinakain ko. And I think especially community nutrition, mas din siya, people oriented. It's a people oriented type of profession, a field. So you really get to develop that interpersonal skills sa sa field na to. And you know, yung nutrition is really a great step. If you're thinking of getting to medicine, nutrition is a great step towards that. Because right now, the trend right now is that your food is your medicine. Like, you can't just rely on medications, but your food has the potential to actually reverse disease, and bring you back to health. Like diabetes right now, we have had patients who are no longer taking medications kasi nagbago sila ng diet. O, di ba? Ang galing. So, it changes lives, honestly. So, ayun, I do not regret getting into community nutrition. I love the fact na yung mga labs namin are eating labs. So, hindi siya yung too scientific. Although it can be scientific, pero it's fun kasi you get to eat. And I think eating is an essential thing sa atin. It's a very fun thing to do, and it's very exciting. It's an exciting job. It's just really fun. So, I hope I was able to introduce yung course namin well. You can always contact me. If you have questions, you can contact me through my email. I think I gave it to the organizer, so you can get to them. But I hope that encouraged you and somewhat gave you an idea of what a nutritionist does in the clinical field. So it's more than just being in the kitchen. Sometimes when some people ask us, what does a nutritionist do? Nasa kitchen lang ba yan? No, we don't just stay in the kitchen, but most of it we're in the kitchen. But isn't that a nice thing that you're in the kitchen kasi kain ka lang ng kain? But yeah, it's more than just that. You actually get to change lives with nutrition and heal people through nutrition as well. So, ayan lang. Have a great day, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. So, goodbye. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you Miss Madeline. So actually ang ganda ng analogy no ng car versus our body in relation to nutrition. So if you don't give the car the right gas or the right equipment, it won't work well or right, just like our bodies. And hearing these stories inspires me more. You know, just by changing or improving their diets, their conditions got better. And so although Miss Kalalo is not physically here with us today, ramdam na ramdam pa rin natin ang presence niya. So thank you very much, ma'am, for that very insightful talk.
I also really like her part on how even if you're already in the field, learning about nutrition is a continuous process, and through clinical nutrition, you can really connect with your patients, and it's really a multifaceted profession. So we will also be hearing a video from a CN alumna who is now working as a renal dietitian in the largest dialysis provider in the United States. So I would like to introduce Ms. Cherry M. Edradan, RND. She is a graduate of DS Community Nutrition cum laude from UP Diliman. She was also hailed top 2 in the 2002 National Dietitian Licensure Examination. She was a former instructor at the Department of Food Science and Nutrition from 2006 to 2013, also teaching community nutrition subjects. And now she is currently working, as previously mentioned, as a renal dietitian at DaVita Dialysis in North Carolina, United States. That is the largest provider for kidney care services in the entire United States. So she has been a leader in clinical and quality innovation for 20 years now. So if you'd like, you can give a warm virtual round of applause to our speaker, additional speaker on clinical nutrition, Ms. Cherry M. Edradan, RND. So let's just wait for the video to start.
And so Reg, ano ba ang renal nutrition?
That's definitely something to do with the kidney.
The kidney.
Yeah, we're not there yet in terms of the courses we're learning, but talagang nakaka-excite, diba? Na there's still so much to learn within our course. So here's the video now. Let's take a close listen to what Ms. Edradan has to say about clinical nutrition.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cherry Edradan, and I was invited to speak about clinical nutrition. Okay. All right. So I'll be looking at my notes here every now and then, so I hope you don't mind. So the first question is, where are you currently working and what is your job description? So currently I'm working as a registered dietitian at DaVita. So it's a dialysis provider here in the US. In fact, they're one of the biggest dialysis providers in the country. And I'm currently assigned to two clinics. One in Rayford, North Carolina, and the other in Maxton, North Carolina. These are both rural areas here in the South. So yung value is very similar to the Philippines. Like I had patients before who would give me vegetables and eggs, you know. Okay, and in total I have about 120 to 130 patients. So my job description, I am a renal dietitian. It's a company they just call us registered dietitian, and I'm basically in charge of helping our patients achieve and maintain good nutritional status. Okay, and sa case namin, we measure nutritional status by BMI, but not so much. Changes in what we call as target weight, which is the weight, our goal weight each time that they finish dialysis. Also laboratory markers such as albumin, calcium, phosphorus, parathyroid hormone, iron, and potassium. So among dialysis patients, abnormal laboratory outcomes, this would mean increased risk to infection. So for example, if they have low albumin, that can make them at risk to hospitalizations, and even lower quality of everyday life. This really affects their energy. Abnormal calcium and phosphorus and parathyroid hormone can lead to a condition called calciphylaxis. So it looks almost like a pressure ulcer, but it's doesn't heal as fast, and it's a very painful skin impairment to have. All right, and then for example, abnormal potassium can lead to abnormal heart rhythms and unfortunately even death. Okay, so oh yeah, I forget to mention I also monitor how much fluid weight they gain in between treatments, because that can predict hospitalization and even death. Okay, so my work is a cycle. It's the same every month. It begins when the lab results come out. As soon as labs are available, the first thing I do is I review them and identify patients with abnormal values, missing lab values, and then I find out who needs new or additional interventions. So what interventions do I do? It varies from state to state, but here in North Carolina, I'm given access to protocols. Preloaded na siya sa computer. So say, kung merong abnormal na lab, the protocol would trigger either an increase or a decrease in Hectorol, which is an active vitamin D that we use. So I'm in charge of that. But when I see that the probable titration is not appropriate, I of course talk to the doctor and tell them that I would like something else. All right, and then what else here? Another intervention that I do is I provide nutrition education and counseling to patients, to family members, and then if they live in skilled nursing facilities, I also reach out to their providers there. So after I had reviewed the labs, my next step would be to visit each patient one by one. And that's when I tell them like, hey, this is your result. I give suggestions on what to do to make the numbers or their outcomes better. Okay, and then of course it doesn't end there. Dito we have a rule na you have to document your visit within 3 days of visit. All right. There is the government has the equivalent of PhilHealth. Sa Philippines, it's called Medicare. So they look at how well we take care of our patients and our documentation. Dito kasi ang philosophy, if you didn't write a note about it or document about it, it never happened. So that's an important part of my job, is to document in the electronic medical chart. So apart from this, I'm also involved in quality improvement programs at the clinic level. So what that means is that every month we'll look at how many of our patients are meeting goals in terms of fluid, new laboratory, how many are losing weight or whatnot. And then we try to find a way to improve the numbers in the clinic. I'm also in charge of what we call as lobby days, but ever since the pandemic happened, may limitations na kami for about that. Like we can't just do lobby education or give out food or samples. All right. And then I also provide education for my teammates. So ako yung point person for nutrition. So whenever I can, I also educate my teammates, knowing that they can also, if they're equipped with the right knowledge, they can also provide education to our patients. Okay, so and also ever since the pandemic happened, I have been helping in entrance evaluation. So what does that mean? I take temperatures. I ask patients if they have symptoms like coughing, colds, loss of appetite, and stuff like that. Yon. So, all right. So that I hope answers number one. So basically, much like all dietitians, I'm in charge of improving, maintaining, nutritional status. And all right, what made you settle in your current profession? So, when I graduated from college, I knew that I wanted to be in food service. That's, or at least I thought I knew, because sobrang love ko yung FN 117 teacher ko. So, union track na finalo ko. But after 2 years, I started. I went to something else. So I have actually tried all tracks in nutrition and dietetics. So, like I said, I started in food service, and then I also worked as a nutrition representative for Nestle. And when I joined the academe, that's when I had the opportunity to dabble in both clinical and public health nutrition. So I was faculty in the UP College of Home Economics for 7.5 years. I'm sorry, and then I got married. So I moved overseas to be with my husband, and I was lucky because within my first month of moving to the U.S., I was hired as a dietary manager in a nursing home. Okay, and then as a dietary manager, I was in charge of food service, and it was hard. Okay, being a dietary manager literally broke me, but it also renewed me. Na, kasi when your cooks and your aides call out, you will become the cook and the aide for the day, and I'm talking like preparing food for 50 to 60 people, and that is hard. Okay, I had to chop like 10 watermelons at a time, prepare and drinks, milk, tea, and all that. And so it was too much for me. And after a month, I said, I'm going to quit. But what happened that day that I submitted my resignation letter, the dietitian said the reason she hired me is because she wanted me to take over as dietitian because she was actually leaving. So within month of being the dietary manager, I became the dietitian, clinical dietitian in that nursing home. So wala akong ganong clinical nutrition background, but what they did was they sent dietitians, seasoned dietitians, to train me for a month. And after that, I was a dietitian for 1.5 years, and then I moved on to a different nursing home. And what else happened? After that, we had to move here to North Carolina because of a job opportunity for my husband. And here I worked in a daycare, elderly daycare. And then I saw an opening for Fresenius, which is another dialysis provider. They accepted me, and they trained me for a month to become a real dietitian. After 1.5 years, I moved to DaVita. So that's our logo right there, our company logo. And that's where I still work until now. And so yeah, where was I? I'm sorry. I'm reading my cue cards here. Yeah, so they're my current employer. And so all right, I've been a dietitian for 18 years now. I graduated in 2002. I would like to say that being in the renal setting is the least stressful job that I've ever had. I have time for my family. All right. I get home at a decent hour. So I get to relax a little bit. Okay. So yeah, and that's why I feel like although I miss the academe, at least here, while I'm here in the US, this is where I want to stay, being a renal dietitian. Okay, so what makes clinical nutrition different from all other tracks in community nutrition? So I can only compare clinical nutrition to food service in the commercial setting because I was never in food service in the hospital setting. Okay, so obviously, being coming from a commercial food service, it was all business. We didn't really, consider health and nutrition or whatnot. So that's how it's different because clinical nutrition definitely we focus on disease states, and then whenever we implement or plan and implement interventions, we take into account food, nutrients, supplements, and medications and how they affect the body. Couple that with our skills in education, leading and motivating individuals. Okay. All right. So that's how it's different. Possibly, people from public health nutrition will say that it's not really much different. Public health was saying that public health avoids disease states from happening, whereas kami sa clinical nutrition side, we are dealing with the disease state that's active. All right. So next, what are the qualities and skills needed in your job? Okay, renal dietitians should be patient, kind. You should be able to think on your feet. You should be curious. Always hungry to learn, and you should have a genuine love for people. Okay, because we're dealing with very sick people, and these are some of these people are what we call as terminal ill. When you're in dialysis, you're considered terminally ill, and actually much of the work that we do in the renal and the dialysis setting is motivating and influencing individuals to make the right choices and be compliant with their medications. And so those are the qualities that you need in terms of skills if you want to get into renal nutrition. Of course, given na alam mo pa rin yung clinical nutrition background mo, you know your food and food science. Okay, but the real skill there is how you integrate all of those whenever you do your interventions. Whenever you think about a med change, whenever you think about changes in diet that you'd like to propose. So you'd have to integrate all of those things. All right, and the last question is, how did a community nutrition program help prepare you for this profession? So definitely, the community nutrition program will provide you with a good foundation in any nutrition-related career or track that you want to pursue. Like I said, it's a foundation. You should build onto it by studying while you're working. Okay, do not expect to know everything after you graduate from college. And the good news is that your employers don't expect that either. Okay, but so in my experience, you have to be trained for at least a month before you take in you before you assume a new role. All right, and my advice is to make the best of your college life, like really study, and then more than memorization, what you have to do is understand the concepts. Okay, know that all the tracks, they're important, and that in the future you'll see how they integrate when you practice, and it will all make sense soon. So thank you for listening. I do hope that all of you are safe and healthy. And if this is your first year in community nutrition, welcome to community nutrition. Or if you're graduating, I wish you all the best. Thank you.
So we really are very grateful that despite their busy schedules, our clinical nutrition speakers were able to share their experiences with us kahit sa video lang. So nagugustuhan ko yung that there are really some very technical aspects of clinical nutrition you have to consider when you're getting into that field. So energy check muna tayo sa mga participants natin. Please send a reaction emoji in our Zoom chat. It really helps to know that you're still listening and that you're learning a lot. So our next alumni speaker will talk about one of the tracks in BSCN, which is public health. He is Mr. Andre B. Flores, RND. So Mr. Flores is a graduate of community nutrition in UP Diliman. cum laude. He is currently a consultant and technical assistance provider at Alcance International LLC for the National Nutrition Council, Nutrition International, and UNICEF Consortium Project, where he was also a program associate. He was also a nutrition focal officer at AJA in partnership with the United Nations World Food Program. He was also a team leader at Ideas Positive Run 8 in the Unilab Foundation Incorporated. So let's please give a warm virtual round of applause to Sir Andre B. Flores, RND, our speaker for the public health track in community nutrition.
Hello. So, good afternoon to everyone. Naririnig ba ako?
Yes,
Can
sir.
some Okay, so thank you, Rez. So, I'll just share my screen. Wait lang. For a while. So, can you see my screen right now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can so Okay. Okay. So, uh, again, no, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Andre Flores, and I was invited to share to you my experience on the field no na pinili ko matapos gumraduate from BS Community Nutrition 2 years ago. So medyo fresh pa no. So I hope makapag-provide ako ng insight lalo na sa ating mga participants, lalo na sa mga nasa high school no in considering uh, choosing BS Community Nutrition and pursuing a career in public health nutrition. So So again, no, thank you for Pan Alpha for inviting me. And shout out nga pala no kay Sir Aaron na siyang teacher ko po sa Public Health Nutrition nung undergrad. And hi din po pala kay Miss Didi Vega na nanonood ngayon from Panwater chapter. So the outline of my presentation, no. So first, I will share to you my journey, no. Specifically, ano yung mga roles and responsibilities na hinawakan ko and the skills and competencies na needed for me to carry out those roles. Then second is how the BS Community Nutrition prepared me for this. And lastly is some messages lang no on choosing your track. So yan nga pala yung nameplate ko no na naka-feature din sa Facebook ko. So sobrang proud ako sa nameplate na yan. One of the uh, hallmarks kumbaga ng aking undergrad is yung pag suot no ng nameplate and your white uniform. So to proceed, so so that's the College of Home Economics nga pala no on on the screen, and like some of you, I considered a career in medicine no proceeding to med school. Usual yun no sa BS Community Nutrition, and o kaya clinical no I also considered. And also food service kasi nung nagpracticum ako with airline catering, sobrang na-inspire ako dun sa ginagawa on quality and food safety no. So kumbaga madami akong na-consider. In fact, like Sir Aaron, hindi rin BS Community Nutrition yung first choice ko nung UPCAT kasi BS Geology ako originally. So medyo naligaw-ligaw pa ng slight. Wala kasing career talk yung pan nung time ko. So uh, umabot din ako no sa public health, taking up BS Community Nutrition. So proceed na ako sa professional journey ko no. So it's divided into two parts. Yung unang engagement ko was on humanitarian response, and second, which is my current, is on policy and planning. So start muna tayo sa experience ko no on humanitarian response. So sa public health nutrition kasi turns out meron pa siyang mga sub fields or tracks. So hopefully I could share insight no dito sa dalawang to. So my first job was as nutrition focal officer under Adventist Development and Relief Agency. So, isa siyang international NGO at na-assign ako sa Iligan. So, by the way nga pala, I'm from Iligan City. So, I'm Bisaya. Pwede lang din mag-Bisaya no, from time to time. So, uh, I took up the boards nung mga July and right there, pagka-August, ay nag-start agad ako sa ADRA. So, ADRA is again an international NGO. So, anong ginawa ko sa ADRA? So, here's our project. So, my project back then was with the team implementing the supplementary feeding program for children under 5 years old. So, nung ini-interview ako for my job, uh, I was thinking na yung program ay magluluto. No, kasi feeding program, yun agad yung nasa isip mo. Magluluto, hot meals, may kitchen. So, turns out, nung pag-start ko, ang ibibigay pala namin ay mga ready-to-use supplementary food. So, shown on the screen, yung paketeng yan, which is parang peanut butter na binibigay sa mga bata at buntis na nakitaan ng moderate acute malnutrition. So yun ang major objective ng program namin no, in partnership with World Food Program ay meron kaming mga areas noon sa Marawi City and 5 municipalities in Lanao del Sur. So this was post Marawi siege and madaming mga partners no on site na nag-implement ng mga programs, no health, livelihoods lahat, and one of which is nutrition. Since maraming mga internally displaced peoples noon sa Marawi and the areas around it. So we provided technical coaching and assistance to health workers na naka-assign sa rural health units and barangay health stations. And minonitor namin yung implementation ng program. So, in the next slides, I will share to you ano yung specifically ng mga ginagawa namin and ano yung mga skills nga na required at nakuha ko no from BS Community Nutrition. So first, of course, nutrition assessment. So sa nutrition assessment, you have to merong 5 yan eh, anthro, biochemical, clinical, dietary, and environmental or ecological. So kami noon was doing anthropometric, yung mukuha kami ng yan sa yung first picture, yan. So that's middle upper arm circumference, no? Kinukuha yung circumference niyang part na yan ng arm para makita kung moderate or severely acute malnourished ba ang bata. So yung nakikita nyo sa picture is a case of moderate acute malnutrition, yellow. So yun yung mga bibigyan na namin ng specialized food na pinakita ko kanina. So yan. So middle picture, nagtitimbang ng mga bata. Yan yung height board. And yan, third, isang BNS, Barangay Nutrition Scholar in Action na nag-a-assess ng bata for malnourishment. So dito, nagagamit yung clinical eye mo. No? So kailangan mong maging familiar sa pag-assess ng mga skills and dapat accurate and precise ka. No? Kasi kapag ma-miss out mo yung bata na acute malnourished pala, no? So yun, hindi mo na siya mabalikan. So kailangan na-master mo yung craft no, while you're on the field. So that's for nutrition assessment. Second is nutrition education and counseling. So yung first picture is a sample of an information education material on na ginamit noon no sa Marawi no, it's in Maranao language. Nagpakita ng sample pictures ng mga bata na may acute malnourishment no. So yan yung mga messages na yan yung pinaparating namin no sa mga mothers na nakaka-interact namin. So dito we have to educate them on maternal nutrition and young child feeding. So you have to have that capacity to communicate effectively kasi most of the time you'll meet people who have long held beliefs on food no. So syempre hindi mo sila kailangan or dapat i-judge no, dapat makausap mo sila, maintindihan kung bakit ganun or saan nila nakuha yung ganung information and try to correct, no? Para ma-correct yon and mas ma-improve pa yung nutritional status ng mga bata. So, kailangan practical yung advice mo and hindi info overload, no? Once nasa community ka, hindi mo pwede silang bagsakan ng mga terms na mabibigat, no? So, dapat practical ka when it comes to education and counseling. So, third, isa sa mga ginagawa din namin ay advocacy and mobilization. So, in public health nutrition, madalas no kailangan mong mag-gain talaga yung support ng partners. Tulad ng sabi ni Sir Aaron, uh, hindi nag-iisang isang nutritionist dietitian when it comes to solving the problem kasi kailangan niya yung help ng allied health professions at of course yung mga nasa LGU, yan si Kapitan, at yung mga community health workers, ating mga municipal health officers, doctors, no? So lahat 'yan, no? Sama-sama kayong magde-devise ng mga paraan upang effectively solve yung malnutrition problem sa isang community. So kailangan mo silang mahila to your mission, no? Which is to yun nga address malnutrition in the community. So yun, ipapa-understand mo sa kanila yung problem and hopefully invite them to action. Then of course, monitoring and evaluation. So isa sa mga task ko noon is to ensure that the program, no, its components are running. So hindi napuputol yung service delivery. So dapat yung mga supplies na yan, yung mga kahon ay nakakarating dun sa mga areas kung saan kailangan siyang makarating at maibigay sa tamang beneficiaries, no? Kasi may mga cases na kung sino-sino lang yung nabibigyan kasi hindi nila alam paano i-distribute yung commodities. So yun, nagte-train kami ng mga ayan, as you can see, nagte-train kami ng mga community health workers and minomonitor sila and ina-evaluate, no, kung kumusta yung pag-implement ng program. So kapag may mga nakita kayo ng mga problems, yun yung mga kailangan ayusin, no? Para maging effective yung implementation ng project. Okay. So that was a 3-month engagement, no? Fairly short, pero naging isa sa mga magandang foundation and entry points ko siya for public health nutrition. So after nun ay nag-proceed na ako sa current engagement ko ngayon, which is mostly on policy and planning. So right now, I'm a consultant and a technical assistance provider under Alcans International. So this is a consultancy group, no, na meron siyang mga various projects on development, and one of which yung focus niya ngayon is mga projects na on nutrition. So specifically, our team in Alcans is our team in Alcans was selected, no, to deliver these projects, no, on screen. So ito po yung aming current engagement ngayon. First ay nung pagkatapos ko sa ADRA, sa PHLO3 ay nag-start ako sa project to support the National Nutrition Council to operationalize the PPAN. So mamaya ipapaliwanag ko yung PPAN and advance the National Nutrition Agenda in the Philippines. And ito na nga yung PHLO4, yung current project ko is somewhat an extension kasi ang ating plan of action is ending sa 2022 pa. So may mga programs na ini-implement, no, para mas ma-forward pa si nutrition. So in this current project, katuwang namin ang UNICEF and ang National Nutrition Council, no, para sa yun nga, pag-advance ng nutrition agenda in the country, which is indicated sa ating Philippine Plan of Action for Nutrition 2017 to 2022. Dito nakasaad kung ano ang dapat na maabot for the nutrition situation sa country, no, in the 6 years, and ano yung mga programs na kailangan ma-implement. So just to give you a brief background, no, bakit ano yung mga reasons kung bakit kailangan natin ma-implement or ma-operationalize yung Philippine Plan of Action for Nutrition are the problems on stunting, wasting, obesity, micronutrient deficiencies, chronic energy deficiency, and food insecurity. So, sa stunting, imagine, no, in the latest data ng ating Food and Nutrition Research Institute, 28.8% of children under 5, equating to 3.4 million children sa buong Pilipinas. So imagine the gravity of the situation at ilang bata yon na kailangan pag-isipan kung paano natin mako-curb yung stunting levels. So as shown in this orange line, we have had gains, no, in the last years, and from 33.4 gagawin natin ang ating makakaya para moabot para umabot siya ng 21.4% by 2022, which, take note, magiging mas mahirap in this current situation of the pandemic, kung saan nag-increase ng napakataas, no, ang ating hunger levels based on the social weather stations. So from stunting, nandiyan ang wasting. So 5.8%, equating into 800,000 children across the country. Imagine nyo, 800,000 children who are 9 times more likely to die kapag na umabot sila ng acute malnutrition. No? So yan yung mga kailangan nating mahabol. So we have to act fast, and tayo with the many partners working on nutrition across the country are working to address these issues. So, given the situation, anong nagiging role namin, no, sa project? So, one of our tasks is to support in the mobilization of various stakeholders for the PPAN. So, si National Nutrition Council as the highest policy making and coordinating body in nutrition sa ating bansa ay taking the lead, no, para kausapin, no, itong iba't ibang mga ahensya sa ating bansa upang mag-contribute, no, sa pag-address ng malnutrition problem. So we have regular meetings with these agencies, no, sa national level and other entities. And most importantly, hindi makakalimutan ang subnational level kung saan nangyayari ang most of the action. So, nabanggit ni Sir Aaron na we are working on a devolved setup. So, kailangan ma-convince natin, no, ang mga local chief executives, mga mayors natin to invest in nutrition. So, we're devising projects para ma-mobilize itong mga partners natin sa subnational level. So one of the things that we do then is to review policies. So promote ko na lang din now, we have this project, the Compendium of Local Ordinances and Issuances on Nutrition. Nandiyan yung mga local policies, mga ordinances ng mga cities, provinces and municipalities no, on nutrition. So pwede nyo tingnan yan, baka makatulong sa mga research projects nyo. So in my work, nakita ko yung mobilizing power ng policy kung saan kapag may policy or legal basis, nagiging mas madali mag-advocate or kumausap ng mga partners, no, to work on nutrition. So madami mga policies na kinakascade natin, no, sa pababa. So aside from policy review, we also have multi-sectoral and multi-level planning. So yan yung mga pictures ng mga meetings na ginagawa namin with various agencies. So dito pinag-uusapan ano yung mga kailangan natin gawin, what can we do better, no, para ma-achieve nga yung mga outcomes ng PPAN. So since nutrition ay multi-sectoral, hindi siya kay nutrition lang, no, kailangan mo kausapin si agriculture, si social welfare, si education. So kaya ganun na lang kadami yung meetings na kailangan mong attenan. And next, you also build partnerships. So aligned na din, no, sa sinabi ko kanina na you are not alone in this fight against malnutrition, kailangan mong i-strengthen yung partnerships mo with other organizations, other entities, at yung mga regional offices. Yan. So, Ma'am Didi, andyan ka po sa picture kung nakikita nyo po. Yan po yung mga kailangan yung makausap para mas mas strengthen pa yung advocacy for the people. So another thing that we do is to facilitate workshops, trainings, So yan, we train members of the planning team sa mga local government units para matulungan sila sa pagpaplano. Paano sila mag-implement ng mga programs and projects for nutrition. So yan po yung isa sa mga task namin. So kailangan as nutritionist dietitian in public health, kailangan marunong ka din mag-capacitate ng mga partners. Then, design and management of events. So, nung pre-COVID, madaming events, mga workshops, yung mga trainings na hinuhold namin with local government units. So, one of the tasks that we have is to design workshops, how to have effective events, dapat ma-reach yung mga objectives natin. So, from face-to-face workshops, yung mga design ay ginawa ngayong online. So, nag-include ako ng picture niyan, yung mga Zoom meeting. So, kailangan din siyang pagplanuhan, yung mga events na ganyan. So, kailangan well-coordinated and aligned sa inyong gustong ma-achieve for your events. And of course, travel. Siningit ko lang talaga siya. Sa public health nutrition, in my case, in my job, I was able to visit various places, all expense paid pa. So, yung from Metro Manila, ayan, nag-LRT ako. So, ayan, timing, nakapila ako, tapos pahingi ng pahinga yung nakalagay. So, kasi minsan may mga times talaga na sunod-sunod yung biyahe mo. Uuwi ka na lang sa bahay, then the next day may flight ka na naman to somewhere. So, mga ganong instances which is nakakapagod pero very fulfilling naman, knowing that yung pagpunta mo ay meron ka na namang group of people who will be one with you in advocating for nutrition. So that sense of mission when you are going to places and meeting new people across the country. So, yeah. So, taking BS Community Nutrition for a career in public health nutrition. So, ano yung mga competencies na nakuha ko from my undergrad program? So, one of which is the lens. So, yung pagbuo ng mga problem tree na ganyan. Evaluating the nutrition situation. So, tinuturo yan sa college. Which is bit-bit ko rin sa akin pagdating ko sa aking work in public health nutrition. Next is working in teams. So, madaming mga group work and papers sa BS Community Nutrition, and which is the same din pagdating mo sa work. You'll be part of many teams, and kailangan teamwork lagi when it comes to achieving your deliverables. Then, working under pressure. So sa mga current CN undergrad right now, been there, done that. So may madaming mga deadlines, minsan magko-complain na tayo, patong-patong, makikiusap tayo kung pwede bang mapa-extend. So nasanay na, working under pressure sa CN. So pagdating mo pag-work mo, kayang-kaya niyo na yan. Then creativity and innovation. So yung mga pinakita ni Sir Aaron kanina ng mga nutrition education sessions, ganun din, pagdating mo sa work in public health, you'll craft mga materials para to effectively convey your message. Then actual application, merong mga affiliation with various institutions, community exposures, and practicum which prepares you for eventual career in public health. And lastly, opportunities. So madaming mga conference, no, lalo na sa health and nutrition, mostly mga libre lang naman or applyan lang, essay lang ang puhunan. So take, as BS Community Nutrition, I would say na na-maximize ko yon. And kailangan din, no, magaling lang din kayo maghanap ng mga programs na yun. So lapit nang matapos. So choosing your track. So the CN program prepares you for various fields. Hindi ka, kung public health ka, eventually magagamit mo rin yung skills mo in clinical and food service. So skills in one track can be applied in the other. Tas ikaw ang synthesize ng lahat na yon kung paano mo siya magagamit sa current work mo. So in my case, I know, yan, as shown on screen, I'm somewhat pursuing my ikigai, which is a Japanese concept, no, for reason for being. So ito kung saan nag-intersect where you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. So in my case, I would say na sometimes, no, I feel na I'm able not to achieve this kasi aware ako in myself na ito yung gusto kong gawin. In the first place, public health nutrition na talaga yung gusto kong i-pursue. So you channel all your energies to that goal of yours, no? And kayang-kaya mo na rin yun ma-achieve, no? So conscious effort talaga siya. So some messages na lang before I end. So sa dami-dami ng kailangan gawin, sa laki ng problem on malnutrition, sa dami ng expected of you, you have to pause from time to time and reflect. So yung pag-pause ang nakatulong sa akin, no, to help me know what I really want to pursue. And maximize every opportunity presented to you. Third, know your why. So bakit ka ba nasa work na yan? So in my case, I want to ensure, no, that every child, no, achieves their right to proper nutrition. And sa buong lahat-lahat na iyon, enjoy the ride. So yun lamang, no, for my presentation. Greetings from Hamburger Elementary School. So see you future RNDs. So thank you very much, and you could contact me through these contact details on screen kung meron kayong mga questions. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that inspiring talk, Mr. Flores. Fellow Bisaya pala ito si Mr. Flores. So, yung nakikita natin na yung public health nutrition ay talagang collaborative siyang strand of nutrition, di ba? And that you really get to grow as a person when you're in the public health nutrition strand.
And so again, if you have any questions for Sir Andre, you may send it to our chat box here in Zoom or comment it in the comment section if you are watching our Facebook Live and YouTube live stream.
Kumusta na kaya ang ating mga participants? Are you all inspired now to take BS Community Nutrition?
And so for our final speaker, he will talk about a future in the food service industry as a registered nutritionist dietitian. He is Mr. Carl Lenin Danganan, RND. He is a graduate of BS Community Nutrition cum laude at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. He is currently taking Masterals of Hotel, Restaurant, and Institution Management at UP Diliman and is currently the Training and Development Manager at Ineng Special BPQ. As an undergraduate, he was a member of various organizations such as Philippine Association of Nutrition Alpha Chapter, College of Home Economics Student Council, Balay, and LEDCHE. So let's all welcome Mr. Carl Danganan.
So, hello po. Can you hear me po?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, good afternoon. So, batchmate ko si Andre and naging students kami ni Sir Aaron. So, hello Sir Aaron. So, kaninang umaga magkausap kami ni Andre. Akala ko like interview to, ganun, or something na sharing lang. And sabi niya sa akin, nag-prepare siya ng magandang PowerPoint. So, kaninang lunch break, meron akong 30 minutes to prepare. Buti na lang hindi na ito grade ni Sir Aaron, kundi bagsak ako sigurado. Okay, so, ayan, so, thank you for sharing yung PowerPoint ko. So, again, I'm Carl Danganan, Training and Development Manager of Ineng Special Barbecue. So, sa amin sa Inengs, we actually have 3 registered nutritionist dietitian. So, yung isa graduate ng UP Los Baños, ako from Diliman, and we have one from PUP. So, masaya na 3 kami na nakatutok talaga sa safety and quality ng mga pagkain. No? So, next slide please. Next slide po. So, as a training and development manager, ayan pala. So, iba't ibang brands yung hawak namin. No? Aside from Inengs, we also have Santiago Filipino Restaurant. I also oversee yung aming delivery services number, yung 8777127. We have Crazy Bagnet and Henny's Chicken. So, medyo loaded talaga kasi hindi lang single brand yung tinitingnan natin. So, marami tayong brands na tinututukan din. Next slide, please. Ayan, so bilang isang training and development manager, ano ba yung mga tasks na kailangan natin gawin? Siyempre, nandyan yung una, yung we train new hires. And siyempre, ititrain natin yung mga managers how to do their job properly. How will they ensure food safety, yung quality ng mga pagkain, and siyempre, tinitrain din natin yung mga team leaders. So, given the fact na meron tayong around 600 to 700 employees, siyempre, hindi natin matututukan kung ako lang mismo yung mag-oversee sa lahat ng yon para mag-conduct ng training and development para sa kanila. So, meron akong 2 training officer and we have around 24 team leaders para sila rin yung mag-oversee sa kanya-kanyang branch para ma-ensure nga yung quality, service, yung cleanliness, and yung value ng company. So, we also create modules and manuals for the company. And syempre, nandiyan din yung mga side duties like marketing. So, ngayon, hands-on tayo sa social media, pag-prepare ng mga publicity materials, and yung mga iba pa nating side duties. Okay, so next slide. So bakit ba food service ang pinili ko? No? Siyempre kasi ang heart ng food service talaga is food. And lahat tayo, kumakain tayo everyday, di ba? So we eat food para sa physiologic needs natin. Kumakain tayo dahil possibly ito yung dapat natin kainin kasi may certain conditions tayo na kailangan i-address with the help of nutrition, syempre. We also eat kasi sa mga social occasions like birthdays, Christmas, mga holidays, di ba? Culturally, like mga fiesta. So, ang daming factors na nagre-revolve sa food, the way we eat, kung bakit tayo ganun kumain. Kaya, ang sarap din magstay sa food service. Pero, ang greatest influence ko really is my mom because she's very passionate sa pagluluto. And of course, nandiyan din yung mga family and friends ko na nag-train din sa akin para marating tong position na to. Yung advisor ko, si Ma'am Taob. And yung iba pang mga nagturo sa akin. Most significantly, syempre, sa food service field. And also, kaya ako nag-settle sa work ko ngayon because I get to travel. So nakaka-visit tayo ng iba't ibang lugar like Iloilo, sa Davao, Calapan, sa Ilocos. Also, umattend tayo ng international food conferences para continuously ma-develop tayo, ma-train, makita natin kung ano ba yung mga ginagawa sa mga areas na to and ma-monitor yung mga branches natin doon. Also, I get to cook na talagang gusto ko and syempre, lahat ng niluluto natin, natitikman natin and kinakain natin. Kaya sobrang saya ko na magstay dito sa Inengs and sa food service. Sa food service kasi, di ba, ang daming institutions na pwede kang mag-work. So, nandiyan ang hospital. Ang hospital may food service din. Yung mga DSWD homes, home for the aged. So, lahat yan may food service. Even mga school cafeterias, sa service din. Pero ako kasi na-focus ako sa isang business-oriented na food service. So, unlike sa hospital, medyo kami ay profit-oriented yung approach ng food service na kung nasan ako ngayon. So, next slide, please. So, ano ba yung meron dito sa field ko na mas nakafocus sa business side niya. So, syempre, ang interaction natin, kaya iba ang food service sa other tracks kasi interaction natin sa ating mga clients, madalas mabilis lang. 'Di ba? From taking orders to serving the order. So, hindi ganun kahaba yung interaction natin. So, wala tayong chance na mas kilalanin pa yung mga customers, ano yung mga needs nila, ano yung dapat nilang kainin. So, more of the service lang eh. And yung short time na mag-i-stay sila sa mga restaurants natin or mag-order sila. Also, as I have said a while ago, so business-oriented tong work ko ngayon. So, yung numbers, di ba? Yung sales na ma-generate mo, very crucial para sa sustainability ng business. Yung trends sa food service industry, sobrang bilis sa restaurant industry. Minsan uso ka, kinabukasan hindi na. Ito ang usong product ngayon, bukas iba na ulit. So, kailangan din ng continuous research para makasabay tayo sa kung ano ang ginagawa ng ibang mga companies. Also, yung competition sa restaurant industry, napakalakas. Lalo na ngayon, di ba? Ang daming online sellers, ang daming mga companies na nagtayo ng business patungkol sa food. And ang challenge sa atin mga nutritionist, dietitian, ay paano ba natin magagawa yung role natin na ma-ensure na yung mga nagtitinda na to, yung mga business owners na to, ay nag-offer ng safe, nutritious, and syempre quality foods para sa kanilang mga customers. Next slide, please. So, all in all, di ba? Kasi kami nga, kailangan mag-deliver ka ng number. Pero paano mo i-strike yung balance na kailangan mo ng magandang sales, pero nandun pa rin yung moral and values mo and yung mga belief mo na mahalaga ang nutrition sa iba't ibang tao. So, syempre, yung background natin sa clinical nutrition, yung background natin sa food service, sa public health, and even research, nakatulong yan para ma-build kung sino tayo ngayon, kung ano yung mga standards na pinanghahawakan natin na hindi dapat mabali. So, nakadila yung picture kasi, kunwari, sabihin ng operations manager, ipasa mo tong manager na to kasi kailangan ko. So, ako, sa pananaw ko, hindi siya pasado eh. Hindi niya magagawa yung standards natin, hindi niya malilid yung team para ma-achieve yung goals natin. So, it's a no. Diba? So, sabihin ng cook natin, oh, sir, nagmamadali to, kailangan ko na ilabas. Pero yung internal temperature ng chicken hindi pa na-achieve. Pwede yung mag-cause ng harm sa customer natin. So again, it's a no. So dapat, kung ano yung natutunan ko sa college hanggang ngayon ina-apply ko and very strict ako sa standards kasi ang end na pupuntahan yan ay yung mga customers natin, yung kaligtasan nila, yung nutrition na makukuha nila sa pagkain. And syempre, babalik yung lahat sa company. Sa magiging success ng company. Kasi once maka-experience ang customer mo ng bad experience, wala na. Di ba kagaya nga nasabi ko, minimal lang ang contact natin sa customer. Hindi ka pwedeng magkaroon ng isang oras na babagsak ka or magkakamali ka kasi maaaring hindi na bumalik yung customers dun sa restaurant. So, very crucial. Lahat ng moment, lahat ng nangyayari sa buong chain, kailangan lahat maayos. Kasi ang food service, tinitignan natin mula sa supply, sa pag-process ng pagkain hanggang makarating yan sa consumer na dapat safe and quality na yung value ng pera na ginastos nila para sa pagkain na yon ay worth it para sa kanila, di ba? So yung ibang nutritionist, ang job nila is to recommend kung ano yung for you. At kailangan tayo yung gagawa ng paraan para maging available yung mga pagkain na kailangan para ma-inspire kayo. Ano ba yung nangyayari sa amin sa college days namin? So ano yung mga ginagawa namin? And paano nila kami na-train? Paano niya kami natulungan para sa mga job ko ngayon? Okay, so next slide please. Next slide po. Okay, so nung CN days namin, yan, sabi nga ni Andre kanina, pag sinabi ni Sir Aaron, pupunta kayo sa barangay na to, kailangan nyo mag-develop ng isang instructional design para ma-feel natin yung gap ng mga tao sa ano ba yung mga nagiging nutritional problems nila. So ganun din tayo ngayon, di ba? We develop programs, we develop trainings para ma-fill yung gap. Saan ba nagkukulang yung mga employees natin? So kailangan tama yung pag-analyze mo kung saan talaga yung mali, saan nagkakaroon ng pagkukulang. Ano yung teaching method na dapat mong gawin para maging effective to sa mga tuturuan mo. And yung mga ganong bagay, makakatulong siya para maging mas effective yung training program natin. So lahat to, natutunan natin during our time sa CN, di ba? Also, paano mo tuturuan yung mga taong mas matanda sa'yo? Yung paano mo sasabihin na mali sila na ito yung dapat, given the age gap, di ba? Kasi tayo bilang mga Filipinos, sobrang may respect tayo sa age eh. So, nung CN days, as early as 4th years, no? So mga 19, 20 years old kami, tinuruan na tayo sa public health kung paano makipag-coordinate, paano makipag-usap sa mga sa iba't ibang sector ng community. And yung mga bagay na yon, natulungan tayo ngayon kung paano natin magagawa yung trabaho natin na maganda. Next slide. Okay, so during my CN days, nag-aral tayo ng clinical nutrition, nagkaroon tayo ng practicum sa Veterans Memorial Medical Center. And now, kapag pumunta ako sa guest, tinanong ko sila, ma'am, magsasuggest tayo ng, for example, ng menu. So sasabihin nila, I'm on a diet kasi. So ikaw, hindi ka naman na magiging pabibo na, ano bang diet? Upbuilding ba to or reducing diet? Di ba? Kasi sa public health, tinuruan din tayo na by looking at signs, physical signs, for example, color ng hair, yung nails, yung physique niya, di ba? Apple shape or pear shape ba? So, may imagine mo na siguro reducing diet to. So, ikaw makakapag-recommend ka kung ano yung mas mababang number of calories para sa mga customers na yan. Also, pag sinabi nila, diabetic ako eh, o kaya may hypertensive ako. So, ano ba yung marirecommend mo na akin? So, dahil alam na natin yun, natutunan natin during CN days, mas madali tayong makakapag-recommend ng food, makakapagbigay ng menu na mas fit sa kanila. Okay, next slide. Okay, so during our CN days also, marami tayong mga events na ginagawa sa college. Aside from sa mga orgs, meron din tayo sa mga classes natin na ginagawa. Kaya ngayon, kapag pinagsinabihan ka ng boss mo na, may wedding tayo, kailangan natin ng host, kailangan may mag-decor, mag-organize ng event. So, madali na natin nagagawa to. Kasi during CN days, pag sinabi ni Sir Aaron, sumayaw, kailangan kumanta at sumayaw para maging mas lively yung audience. So, sa harap ng mga taong hindi mo kilala nga, kaya mo na sumayaw. Di ba? Ano pa yung simpleng pag-host? So, kayang-kaya na natin gawin yun. Dito, makikita niyo sa picture namin sa CN days, yung pag-setup namin ng event, di ba? So, kailangan marunong ka mag-martilyo. Lahat ng mga skills na to, natutunan natin dyan eh. Also, yung sa event namin na to, nagpasok pa kami ng buhangin sa college para yung feel nung event namin na yon, mas maramdaman nila na nasa beach side sila. So, itong buhangin po na ito ay construction, yung ginagamit sa construction na hindi po ito yung white sand. And disclaimer lang po. So, eto nga. So, di ba? Yung pag-organize ng event, pag-host, madaling-madali na sa atin dahil natutunan na natin itong mga bagay na to sa CN. Next slide. Also, nung college, tinuruan tayo mag-prepare. Inaral natin yung iba't ibang culture ng iba't ibang bansa. Tinuruan tayo paano ba natin i-present yung food na maging mas appealing sa customers, di ba? Kasi, nutritious nga yung food mo. Yung appeal naman sa taste and yun sa visuals, wala. So, do we expect na kakainin ito ng mga customers natin or ng mga pasyente natin sa hospital? Syempre hindi. So, we make sure na yung requirement nila na mi-meet, pero at the same time, yung lasa, pasok sa gusto nila. Yung itsura, okay para sa kanila. So, yung mga training natin nung nasa CN tayo, nagagamit natin hanggang ngayon. Meal planning, menu preparation for certain occasions, for certain events. So, lahat yon ina-expect sa atin sa food service industry, sa restaurant industry. Kaya dapat alam natin to. And luckily for us, naturuan tayo lahat dito, di ba? Quantification ng menu, paano mo gagawin na from a recipe na isa lang yung good for 1, paano mo siya gagawin good for 60. So lahat yon natutunan din natin sa CN. Next slide. Also, sa paggawa ng mga publicity materials, kasi ngayon, so dahil nga pandemic, maraming employees na hindi nakapasok, I was forced to handle yung marketing department ngayon. And luckily, natulungan tayo sa CN na naaral din natin kung paano ba ano yung marketing, ano yung mga strategies na dapat gawin. Diba? Natutunan din natin kung paano mag-layout, paano maging creative, kagaya ng sabi ni Andre kanina. So ito, ilan to sa mga artworks ng classmates ko na nagturo din sa akin kung paano ba mag-layout, paano gumamit ng Photoshop, paano gumamit ng Canva. And ngayon, I-apply ko rin siya sa trabaho ko ngayon. So, di ba, kailangan natin maging creative para ma-deliver yung message na gusto natin iparating sa mga customers natin. Next slide po. Also, sa CN Days, gumagawa tayo ng programs, di ba? So, sa orgs din. So, I invite you to join orgs kasi ibang development din yung makukuha nyo doon. So, like sa Pan Alpha, di ba? Gumawa kami ng feeding program also and iba-iba pang mga events na ngayon nakakatulong sa atin. So, recently, nung nagkaroon ng eruption sa Taal, so pumunta tayo doon and inassign ako na paano ba natin lulutuin yung food na to na safe, na mas maayos and fit dun sa mga tao na kakain. So, lahat yun kailangan natin i-plan ng maayos. Given na sa outside area tayo magluluto, paano natin ma-ensure yung safety, quality, yung cleanliness ng food para maging okay siya dun sa mga kakain. So, dahil may training tayo sa CN, madali na rin natin siyang nagagawa ngayon. Next slide. Also, CN Day, sabi nga ni Andre, we need to work under pressure. Lagi kang pagod, bugbog sa papers, bugbog sa aral. Although, lahat to part ng challenge na magbibuild din ng character mo. And syempre, mas magde-develop sa'yo. So, dati, konting puyat, bagsak na agad sa classroom. No? So, kapag may break, pag sinabi ni Sir Aaron na, okay, 10 minutes break, tulog yan, matik. Pero ngayon, dahil na-train tayo doon, ngayon, kahit straight shift, kaya natin hawakan yan. So, kaya pa mag-smile. Kailangan lang ng konting ube cheese pandesal para makaptuloy pa ng duty ulit. Kasi yung sa food service, grabe, yung requirement niya physically, iba rin. Kasi tuloy-tuloy yung service, di ba? Ayaw naman natin ng downtime sa restaurant. So, kailangan natin lagi tuloy-tuloy yung pasok ng orders. So, physically, medyo draining siya. So, kailangan lagi ka ring fit. So, tayo din, pinapractice natin yung mga natutunan natin, no? They give time na makapag-exercise, kumain na para mas fit ka, gawin yung work mo. Next slide. Last na ba ito? So ito pa. So sa CNDs din, sabi nga, bugbog ng papers, ang daming reports na ginagawa. Kailangan may analyze to and lahat to nakatulong sa atin sa work natin ngayon kasi I am required to create modules para sa mga standard operating procedures natin. For example, yung module, paano yung magiging changes sa SOP natin ngayong pandemic, di ba? So we need to incur extra cost actually para lang ma-ensure yung safety ng mga customers and ng ating mga employees. So may mga procedures tayo na kailangan idagdag dahil mas strict nga yung protocols ngayong pandemic. Also, required din kami gumawa ng reports. Kinailangan nating matutunan magbasa ng financial reports, gumawa ng letters, gumawa ng memorandums, and ng mga training presentations. So lahat ng ito, dahil sa tulong ng CN, sa tulong ng mga activities na ginawa namin nung college days namin, mas madali namin siyang nagagawa ngayon. So yung mga skills, knowledge na ina-expect sa amin, mas madali namin na-deliver para ma-reach mo kung ano yung goal na ina-expect sa'yo ng company. So, ang parting message ko naman is dapat you make sure na yung value mo, what you can deliver, is always greater than what they pay you. Kasi once na makita ng company na I feel like I'm spending too much for what you are giving, mas madali ka nalang let go. Pero dahil tayo sa CN, holistic yung approach, ang dami nating natututunan, ang dami nating kayang i-deliver sa table, di ba? So, ito yung advantage natin eh. Kasi ang daming namang pwedeng aralin para makapasok sa hospitality industry, kagaya ni Sir Aaron, nandiyan yung tourism, nandiyan yung hotel, restaurant, and institution management, or HRM. Nandiyan din yung mga business administration. Pero tayo bilang mga nutritionist dietitian, iba rin yung nabibigay natin sa table para ma-achieve yung success ng company. And lahat ng to, natutunan natin sa CN. Kaya iba yung meron tayo compared sa kung ano yung kayang i-deliver ng iba. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much, Sapan, for inviting me. And sana naengganyo yung mga viewers natin na mag-aral ng Nutrition and Dietetics. Diba? So madaming schools naman na nag-offer. So I invite you to take UPCAT din na kunin yung CN, isama nyo nga sa checklist nyo para maging mas holistic yung, lalo na kung food service ang gusto nyo, iba talaga yung kayang offer ng mga nutritionist dietitian. And I can certify that kasi nga 3 kaming nutritionist dito. Lahat kami may leadership, attitude, lahat kami kaya mag-manage ng stress, ng extra loads. Lahat yun natutunan namin sa although iba't ibang school kami, lahat yun natutunan namin during our college days. So, thank you very much. And sana na-inspire din kayo and may na-share ako sa inyo na bago. So, thank you.
So, thank you so much, Sir Carl Danganan. Ayun nga, is it just me or was this session a very empathetic talk? So, I'm sure there are many here who are convinced to take the same path as Mr. Carl. And so, grabe lang, the College of Home Economics BS Community Nutrition Programs hones not only our skills, but also our principles. So gaya nga ng story ni Sir Carl, dala-dala niya ang lahat ng natutunan niya from the program. May it be from clinical nutrition or public health service, he's still able to apply his knowledge to food service.
Yes, napaka-holistic ng growth talaga pag nasa BSCN ka. Thank you very much to all our speakers for sharing their experiences as graduates of BS Community Nutrition and as RNDs who are now contributing significant work in their individual fields.
And so at this point, we will now be opening our question and answer portion. So we are sure that you guys have so many questions and insights about BSCN and ND. If so, please do not hesitate to send in your questions via the chat box, or our Facebook live stream viewers may also type their questions in the comment section. So we shall read your questions and have our speakers address them. So please don't forget to write the name of the speaker the question is addressed to.
Okay, so our first question is for Sir Aaron. So Sir, ano po ang ginagawa sa hospital curriculum and ano yung parang accountability mo sa hospital bilang intern?
Sige. Well, before I answer that question, rinig niyo ba ako?
Yes, sir.
Ayan. Gusto ko lang i-congratulate yung ating 2 speakers. Good job. Hindi halatang crammed yung mga actually, to be honest, crammed lang din yung aking presentation. Pero I think the training of BSCN in general makes you yabang-yabang to ni Carla. Totoo, 30 minutes lang yon.
1 hour and 30 minutes, sir.
But etong mga bata talaga. But ayun, being a proud teacher, para I think yan yung mano ko. Good job. Ang galing. I think very much na-communicate yung intersection between the tracks. It's not really separate, but all of the skills overlap and you really get to apply it. Iba lang yung may konting intricacies lang and differences. But for the question, to answer your question, thank you for your question. Sino ang tanong niyan?
Ako, sir.
Ikaw. Okay. Accountability. You are sa hospital, definitely you are guided, no? So you are guided by us, nutritionist dietitian doon sa hospital. And in the same way, like for example, if you're a medicine student, no, kung nag-aaral ka ng medicine, yung kung sino man yung superior mo, parang you're carrying their their license. So yun, so yung accountability in the legal is actually the legal basis of the accountability is your supervisor. Pero ibig sabihin naman hindi naman yun pinapabayaan ka lang ng dietitian sa hospital. So lahat ng output mo doon, may it be kasi you are pwede ka ring mag-counsel, no? So pwede ka ring utusan na mag-counsel ng patient or magbigay ng class, no? Yung parang mga lobby like sabi ni Ma'am Cherry. Ay, shout out pala kay Ma'am Cherry, no? So kung nanonood siya, she's my close professor ng student ako. So ayun, nakakatuwa lang, parang teacher ng teacher ng teacher ganyan. So anyway, ayun. So ayun, so yung accountability nandun. So rest assured that lahat naman pag din sa field, no? So kung sino man yung nag-handle sa inyo, like kung nasa field kayo, so yung lisensya ko doon yung nakaharap. But yun, supervised naman kayo. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Ayan. So from Christine Sales, so for Sir Carl, what is the main difference of food service in BSCN program compared to HRIM or other food services courses?
Okay, so thank you for the question. Actually ngayon, di ba, nagtitake ako ng Masters in Hotel, Restaurant, and Institution Management. So, although same na nasa food service, medyo magkaiba din yung track kasi sa HRIM, mas focus siya sa business side, sa profitability ng company or ng corporate. For example, we study kung anong equipment ang best para sa product na to. Bibilin ko pa dong equipment na to given the depreciation value or sa bilis niyang masisira. Whereas dito naman sa CN, yung focus natin aside from the leadership management, more on nutritional value ng pagkain na i-offer natin, yung safety, yung quality. So mas doon naka-focus eh. Pero yung sure naman ako na yung CN graduates or yung Nutrition and graduates, mga RND, madaling ma-acquire din yung mga knowledge na na-acquire ng graduates from sa ibang course na nasa hospitality din. So, yun nga, siguro yung main answer ko is more on the business side yung iba. And also, syempre, dun yung track ng hotel, tourism. And tayo naman dito, mas naka-focus tayo dun sa paggamit ng food. So, yung sa food chain nga, lahat ng process na dadadaanan niya hanggang makarating siya dun sa end consumer.
Thank you for that, Sir Carl. So, hopefully na-answer niyo yung tanong mo, Miss Christine. So, for Sir Flores, ngayon na nasa pandemic tayo, ano po yung effect ng pandemic nun sa work mo bilang public health nutritionist?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Standard response, no. Given the pandemic, no, tumaas talaga yung hunger as evidenced by the SWS reports and anecdotes, no, from the field. So in my case, sa aking work, since ang hirap gumalaw ngayon, no, most of my engagements currently ay aking mga travels ay through Google Meet and Zoom. So yung mga meetings na dati ay or trainings na ino-organize na face-to-face, kailangan namin siyang i-adapt or i-shift, no? So gumagawa kami ng mga guidelines on how to deliver a specific workshop or training through an online platform. So yun yung mga kailangan pag-isipan para hindi nai-stop yung service delivery, no, since kami naman, no, in policy planning, kailangan makapag-isip din ng ways, no, kung paano makaka-provide ng guidance para sa field implementers nga na hindi mapuputol yung service kasi at the end nung line na yun is yung mga bata din yung kawawa kapag nag-stop tayo sa mga services natin. So, yun lang.
Yeah, so thank you, Sir Andre. And so this is from Juliana Perez for any of the hosts. I mean for any of the speakers. And so did any of the hosts encountered any person with influence or with a large audience, may it be from social media sites or video platforms, that spreads misinformation about nutrition? If yes, what did you do to address this, or what would you do if you will encounter this in the future? Ayan. I guess this is for any speaker po.
Sino yung tinuturo mo? Hindi ko alam eh. No? So, I think may notable lang, may some notable kasi definitely there is a lack no in our profession. I'm sorry pero parang feeling ko may kulang tayo ng parang active effort in trying not to shut down no but to monitor all of these kasi sa internet ang hirap no ang daming platforms, number one, ang bilis mag-publish no, number two, tapos yung number three na iba ang culture ng internet no. So I mean you would see that it's hard then to communicate na what is credible and what is not. A few notable, mayroong isang coach I think hindi ko alam kung alam to nila Andre tsaka nila Ma'am Vega na parang maingay siya about may aso.
Na po ate.
Oh, hello. Ayan. So, merong coach na parang pinopromote niya yung keto diet, no? Tapos inaaway niya talaga yung mga RNDs kasi talaga marami nagpo-post about him. Tapos hindi ko alam kung napatigil yung Facebook niya. But yun, tapos may mga celebrities like si Yusaf, si Erwan Yusaf. Oo, ayan, yung mga ganyang so the point is, at least ngayon may nilabas I think ang NNC na parang statement on yung mga gano'n, no, regarding yung mga ketogenic, low carb, intermittent fasting, and there are some evidences, no, but again, this is not for everyone. The point is having dapat kailangan even kasi pwede ka naman mag-share, no, you as an R&D can share evidences, no, research, basta alam mo how to. Kasi minsan na misconstrued yung no, parang naiiba yung message kasi nga hindi niya alam paano what is association versus pagdating sa research, 'di ba? So relationships nung mga factors baka sinasabi ka agad nila causation. So iba yung causation sa association. Ang hirap no if you're dealing with hindi masyadong science literate na mass. But the point is we have to engage them. No, we have to kulang tayo ng ganun. I think marami naman na like what Man is doing with their videos. Very good efforts by the way. The point is we need to have more of those. No, hindi to dapat matapos sa isa, no? Different organizations. Meron din tayong mga graduates yung gumawa nung Nourish RX, no? Yung mga din. I think batch mo din nito Andre no. Tama ba? Sila
Sila Carmel, yes po. Carmel, sila Apo, yes.
Oo. Yeah, sobrang fun tong batch na to. Napakasipag talaga. So, most times. No? Anyway, hindi, totoo. Magagaling sila. So, anyway, the point is, we have to create more efforts like that na to fight, no? Aside from just sinashutdown natin yung mga ganong mga post, kailangan mag-create din tayo, no? Bakit ano yung mga better messages that can better relate, no, with the masses. So, I think ayun. Yeah, yun yung sagot ko doon.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, our next question, para kay Sir Aaron pa rin, from Paul of College of St. Benilde. So, for thesis topic, sir, kailangan ba na clinical or community-based ang study or pwede mag-venture into food service-related thesis?
So, definition. So, with the tracks or fields ng pwedeng sports nutrition, pwedeng about genomics, no? Marami din kasing new fields in nutrition, yun, like nutrigenomics as well. Basta relate siya sa nutrition sa food. yeah, you can definitely do that. Kaya nga nauna yung 199 doon sa mga practicum is at least while you're doing your practicum, no, you can parang sideline, no, you can collect data, no, para at least you're not wasting time. So yun yung intention yun about it. So anything that interests you, no, kasi yun din yung isang reality about nutrition. Mahirap talaga mag-aral ng nutrition, by the way. The research is very hard kasi ang daming factors that, 'di ba, affect our bodies, no? And when talk about food, isang food pa lang ang daming nutrients diyan. So you can't really, it's hard to pinpoint specific nutrients to specific diseases, etc. So it's very hard. That's why you can go into policy like Andre mentioned kasi nga definitely it's a big driving force sa change, behavior change, no? Nakikita na rin kasi natin na kahit na you can produce so much evidence in what to eat and what not to eat, you really need to have that environmental, ecological support system for the person, the community, no, society to be able to adopt that behavior, no. May it be lessening our fat, our sodium, increasing our fruits and vegetables. It all ties down, no. Even sa food service, no, 'di ba? Parang Carl, ayusin niyo na, 'di ba? Parang kailangan talaga ng efforts to make nutritious na ano ba to? Na choices, 'di ba, Carl?
Yes po, yes, I agree po. Actually, may move yung end up ngayon na mag-label na ng calories yung mga iba't ibang institutions, establishments na kahit yung simpleng label lang ng ilang calorie dito, somehow ma-educate natin yung mga consumers natin sa kung ano ba talaga yung kinakain nila. So actually, madami ring research, consumer behavior, ang daming related sa food na pwede natin alagaan.
Yeah, medyo nag-drop si Carl. Pero yeah, ganun nga. Ang daming it interplays, no? Hindi lang parang gusto mo food service ganun, parang everything intersects, clinical, food, and food service and public health. So you can do research. Ang daming pwedeng pag-aralan about food and humanity. So very exciting. Sana excited kayo na mag-thesis.
And so thank you, Sir Aaron. So for Sir Carl, and so is pursuing nutrition-related profession financially rewarding?
Sorry. Actually, for me, yes. Ngayon, actually, yung sister ko sa ABS nag-work, so nawalan siya ng job. And ako yung nag-susupply ngayon ako yung parang breadwinner ng family ngayon kasi ang business naman ng dad ko ay nasa clothing naman. So, medyo down din yung mga uniforms na pinoproduce niya. So, yes, I can say na depende siguro kung saan ka nag-work, no? And also sa level kung saan ka na. Pero even nung nag-start naman ako, okay naman yung financially rewarding naman siya for me. Kasi iba-iba rin eh. Iba-iba yung basis natin. Iba-iba. Siguro for me, okay. Pero sa iba, hindi. Pero pasok naman siya sa kailangan mo para mabuhay. Yun. Para safe answer.
And so thank you, Sir Carl. Actually, may follow-up question for that. Siguro i-address rin siguro for Sir Aaron and Sir Andre if it's also financially rewarding for sa field nyo.
Paki-define nga what is financially rewarding. Tama yung
Actually, sir, mahirap eh.
You have to define that first. Siguro as one of the oldest NDs here, it's very different, no? Kasi definitely mas mabilis ang progression, I think, sa corporate, no, Carl, sa businesses kasi very fast-paced yung practice talaga nila and outcomes based. So if okay yung pwede ka ma-promote, no, you can go to a different department. Pagdating sa clinical, the sad thing about the Philippines is mas malaki ang I think good thing ngayon na sa public health, sa mga public hospitals, mas malaki ang bayad versus private So sobrang, I think ngayon it's the least rewarding, no. So in that regard talagang kung money matters, it's sad to say na even nurses and yung other clinical staff ng mga private hospitals, maliit ang bayad. As in, like, starting ay like minimum wage, which is sad. Yung sa work na ginagawa nila, food service and clinical, ako saludo ako sa kanila kasi yung hours nila, no, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., nasa work na sila to have the start of service, no, na nandun sila. So, yun. Yun. But kung public hospital, mukhang okay, mas okay yung mga sweldo ngayon. In terms of teaching, dahil public, maganda naman at least sa UP, no, if ever you decide to teach, rewarding siya in a way na kaya mo mabuhay no, pag mag-isa ka. But syempre, if you have a family and mag-iiba yung iba yung needs mo, dun magiging if it's viable pa rin ba siya sa'yo. But if you're single, starting your career in the academy, in research, okay naman siya, no. So, pero ako talaga na-imagine ko sarili ko sa dulo na ng aking career magtuturo, but nagkaroon na opportunity and I love teaching, no. Natutuwa ako sa mga batang naintindihan nila yung mga bagay-bagay na dapat nilang gawin. But rewarding pa rin naman siya ngayon kasi nga at least versus private colleges na demand sila oriented, 'di ba? Kapag walang nag-enroll, magbabawas sila ng faculty. Ang UP naman stable in that regard. So 'yon. So I think kasi ako nag-work din ako in an NGO before, World Vision, before I taught. So nakita ko na rewarding din siya pero iba kasi yung pera, iba din yung stability, yung career ladder, no? Kung kasi pag NGO, public health, medyo pwede kang madalas pa iba-iba ng organization, 'di ba, Andre? So para makita mo nakailang nakaibang lipat na si Andre. Pero 'yon. So it's always project based, no? Pag natapos yung 6 months, 1 year, 3 years project, hagahanap ka na ulit ng bagong employment. So I think sa academy, it's very parang long-term plan siya. So I think Andre can add more to what I said.
Sige po. To share naman with public health nutrition, no, of course, depende rin sa organization kung local ba or international. Tapos yung dun sa nabanggit ni Sir Aaron na usually project-based nga. Pero project-based pero financially rewarding. Hindi ka nga lang stable. Kasi pag end of project, nga ka na naman, maghahanap ka na naman ng project. Although, hindi ko malimutan yung sinabi sa akin ng boss ko nung first day of work ko sa ADRA, no, sa NGO. Sabi niya sa akin, once you're in, you're in. So, meaning, kapag napasok ka sa humanitarian na sector, lilitaw kasi siya sa CV mo and other organizations usually hinahanap yung earlier experience na yun. Lalo na sa, yun, with experience in humanitarian, ganito, ganyan. So, lucky enough for me, nakapasok ako dun sa first job ko sa isang team of 6 people. Then, isa ako sa mga nutritionist na natanggap. Then, yun nga, as you go along, as you gain experience, dun mo na makikita din yung tinatawag niyong financially rewarding. Tsaka kapag nakapag-gain din kayo ng graduate school na experience, no, mag-masters kayo doon, mas makikita nyo pa doon, no, yung result kapag nag-aral pa kayo after yung mag-CN, no, after gaining experience, ganyan. So yeah.
Sige. For Sir Andre ulit, what is the most fulfilling experience you had as a public health RND, pati na rin paano ka nagko-cope with the geographic flexibility?
Ang hirap naman, fulfilling. Yung mga ganyan, advance binibigay para makakapag-isip yung fulfilling. Sa akin nga, sabi ko nga sa presentation ko, sa every opportunity, ma-maximize mo talaga, no? Example, nakakamit ka ng another group of people, no? Working on nutrition, no? Pag nakakausap mo sila, having that exchange sa mga like-minded individuals, mga passionate ones who continue their work, no, despite it all. Yun para sa akin, yun yung mga fuel kumbaga sa work ko na hindi pala ako nag-iisa, no? Madami pala kaming nag-work to improve nutrition in our little ways, no? Tapos, ano pa ba yung isang tanong nyo? How do I cope? How do I cope? Masarap yung pagkain kapag may mga conference. Masaya naman. Okay. Yun nga, nagpapahinga ako kasi kapag dire-diretso yung work mo, mababurnout ka talaga eh. So, you just also have to strike that balance between work, play. Nag-ML naman ako minsan, ganun. You have to take care then of your mental health kasi hindi ka dapat talaga din magpalunod sa trabaho mo, no? Of course, katawan din natin yung puhunan natin and mas nakakapag-isip tayo ng mabuti kapag nakakapagpahinga. So, yun lang.
And so, thank you, Sir Andre. So, for your next question is addressed to Sir Aaron. Is CN a good pre-med?
Sagutin ko ba yan, Andre,
Pass.
tsaka Carl?
Pass.
Pass.
Pass. Next question, please.
Okay. Oo. So, as a pre-med, yan, yung sabi ni Ma'am, ni Ma'am Vega. Yan. Oo. So, the honest answer is yes, definitely, no. Ako, actually, sa group of friends ko na BSCN, no, yung group of friends ko sa college, like 90% doctors na, and talagang aminado, and even some of my old students, sinasabi talaga nila na iba ang training ng BSCN in terms of nutrition training, kasi yun na nga we want, sige, you can have all the medicine in the world, pero it always parang it will not be enough, no. Malaking bagay, the food, our diet is a key aspect in life, no. So kailangan you have to understand that, and siguro din yung community aspect ng community nutrition, yung family oriented, no, community oriented, hindi lang individual, pag uwi niyan sa pamilya niya, gano'n, naintindihan mo yung konteksto niya sa pamilya, gano'n. But gusto rin namin ng NDs in the field. Now, what do I mean by that? We would want na if you would take BSCN na at least to really practice it, no, mag board exam ka pa rin kahit na magbe-med school ka, no. And you can practice, at least you can really give counseling as part of your pag naging MD ka na, no, as a doctor, no. So you can also do that. And I think kasi nagkakaroon ka ng respect then with your other health field, other health practitioners or healthcare practitioners. So yun. So yun, okay siya, pero sana sana na-inspire kayo if ever do sa mga sinasabi namin, no, in the to really function as nutritionists, dietitians, no, kasi even if totoo naman na kulang din tayo ng doctors, actually kulang tayo ng doctors sa rural areas, kulang tayo ng doctors sa communities, no. Masyado nang puno ang Metro Manila, no. You have to really go out, no, kasi ang daming nangangailangan sa labas, no. If you will be a doctor, ang advocacy ko is to brainwash my students to become doctors to the barrios, give their lives, no, yung to the yung help more, kasi parang economy of scale, 'di ba? Na ang public health kasi ang kalakaran natin, helping more people, preventing it before it happens, no, versus clinical na marami din kasing may sakit, totoo din naman yun. So yun yung I think, no, as a instructor, as a public health practitioner as well, yun yung namin, yun yung bias ko. So yun, thank you.
So thank you, sir. Our last question for the question and answer portion, and we would like all of our speakers to answer this. What is your advice or message to all high school students considering CN as a course in college, or yung mga baka may balak mag-shift papuntang CN? Ano po yung mga advice or nuggets of wisdom niyo para sa kanila?
Kaya na mauna.
Carl, ikaw muna, Carl.
Well, yung CN, actually hindi rin siya madali, no? So, kailangan ng courage, ng sacrifice talaga. Pero I can guarantee you naman kasi na after you graduate from CN or sa ibang school na ND, marami kayong pwedeng puntahan and very fulfilling yung job. So, ang pinaka-advice ay, tulungan niyo yung groupmates niyo, ha? Huwag patapon na groupmates kasi maraming group works. And yun lang. Courage lang talaga. And syempre dapat yung kung ano yung gusto mo talaga, yun yung kunin mo eh. And makikita niyo yan sa heart niyo kung para saan talaga kayo. So, yung mga gusto mag-shift, pwede pa mag-shift. Yung mga mag-a-apply, pwede nyo tignan yung CN and i-experience nyo para makadecide din kayo, makatulong sa inyo kung ano ba talaga yung field na dapat puntahan nyo. Yan, thank you.
Sa akin naman, to share, nung namimili ako ng mga course nung college, kada university, iba yung nilagay kong course. No? So, iba sa Lasal, iba sa Ateneo. So, tingnan nyo, naging shifty tuloy ako. So, MBB, actually molecular biology nga yung first choice ko sa UPCAT noon eh. And second is BS Physics. So, pagdating ko sa geology, may iba na akong hinahanap. So, yung considerations ko noon when I was selecting an option was that I love science, sure ako doon, and I love eating. So, ganun kadali. So, and I love interacting with people. So, yung community nutrition gave me that right mix, no? Nag-intersect yung mga gusto ko. And yun, ang daming niyang binigay na opportunities for me, no, when I arrived and took up BS Community Nutrition. And siguro enjoyin niyo lang, no, yung sa mga nasa BSCN na enjoyin niyo talaga, i-maximize niyo yung training na binibigay niya. And sa mga pipiliin pa lang ang BS Community Nutrition, hindi kayo magsisisi sa desisyon niyo. So, yun.
Sure ka ba doon yung pagsisisi? No?
Nasa sayo na yun, sir, kung ite-terrorize.
Siguro to be honest, no, lalo na ngayon na we're ngayon mga senior high students, no, siguro yung mga wala sa program, you have supposedly that additional year to find yourselves, no, kasi ako shifty rin ako eh. So it para sa akin malaking part na like yung shinare ni Andre na ikagay na yung purpose mo, it should be clear to you. Kasi kung hindi clear sa'yo yun, hindi mo tatapusin yung BSCN program eh. I mean, if you're matalino ka, magaling ka, yeah, pwede mo siyang tapusin. But I've known some students na nag-graduate sila tapos biglang iba yung naging work nila or no. At yun, walang mga career talk like this to make it more clear. Tama, Andre. So, ngayon na nag-share kami sa inyo ng what your life could be with this program, at least parang diba, sa lahat ng pinapanood natin sa YouTube, how to buy like cell phones and what have you na tech, diba? Parang in a way, this is one way, no? The first step is to know ano ba yung what you're getting yourselves into, and this is one of the great first steps, definitely. So, palakpakan natin ng pan. Yan. So, malaking bagay yon kasi versus yung parang nadung ka na tapos mag-shift out ka pala. It's parang, I've been through the mess. Magulo siya, masakit siya sa puso, no? Hindi mo alam kung saan pupunta. But I'm very much grateful that I've napunta ako, naligaw ako sa CHE. Kung makita niyo yung aking background, virtual background, this is the atrium of CHE. So miss ko na siya kasi lahat ngayon online. But the people of CHE are definitely different, no? Yung humility, yung looking at hindi lang yung CN, no, with the other departments, tapos the profession itself, I think it's a very good mix of service and personal growth, no? So it's very flexible to like I think ang dami nag-share na lahat ata kami mahilig sa pagkain. Buti nga medyo fit pa kami, no, Andre? So Yun lang. I think everyone can attest na like food is a essential part of life. Pero to go through the program, it's really hard. Lalo na ngayon with the new BSCN curriculum, it's actually I can really see that it is actually harder now because of the additional requirements. But it will definitely give you more. Ganun naman, 'di ba? Parang mas mahirap siya pero mas marami kang makukuha. Kasi ano na kayo you nag-enter na rin kayo sa college ng older, so supposedly you can handle things more. But yun lang, with if you don't lose your whys, you will not lose your way. So a great doctor shared that to me, one of the doctors sa UPCHDP. So you have to cling on to that, and definitely don't pwede ka mag-shift, pwede ka ma-delay. Walang yon. Iba-iba tayo ng landas, no? Don't compare yourselves. Bakit yung iba 4 years ganon? I took college for 6 years, no? And I don't know why I'm teaching now, no? Siguro that's to share na hindi naman kailangan cum laude or board top notcher, pero it's really just having a clear goal, no? Na ito talaga yung gusto mo, pero kahit na ito yung gusto mo, ito yung kaya mong gawin. So learn the Ikagay. Maganda siyang guide na to balance things out in your life. Kasi dahil nga older na rin kayo, parang feeling ko, parang mas ayaw nyo magsayang ng panahon. Tama ba? So ayaw nyong maligaw-ligaw pa. So this is a good first step again. Kausapin nyo lang, magtanong kayo kung hindi itong program, look at other programs, other university. No, hindi lang UP ang nag-offer ng ND, tama si Carl, no? The profession itself is a very fulfilling profession. So wala yun. Even pag nag-med school ka, walang problema kung anong hospital ka, lahat kayo doktor, lahat kayo RND. Basta yun lang hinihingi ko na find yourself and stick with it. So yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that, for all of the insights from our speakers. So to extend our utmost gratitude to all of our speakers, may we invite Mr. Glenn Paula Morales, the current president of Pan Alpha, to present the certificate of appreciation to our speakers.
So before we proceed with the awarding of certificates, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone, especially sa ating mga students at maging sa mga teachers na present ngayon. Ayan. See you next school year. Yes. And also, thank you rin po dahil sobrang lawak po ng ating umabot tayo, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Thank you very much po dahil sobrang taas ng reach natin ngayon. And thank you rin sa ating sa support from our mother chapter sa ating PAN Incorporated at syempre sa support din po ng National Nutrition Council. Thank you very much. Syempre, yun, sa ating ad hoc team, especially sa ating project heads, kay Shani Silva and kay Isaiah Sigdan. Thank you very much. So, ayan po. Let's proceed now with the awarding of certificates. Maraming salamat po sa ating sa ating mga speakers. So, the citation reads, Certificate of Appreciation is hereby granted to Mr. Aaron Andrew D. Bonifacio, Registered Nutritionist Dietitian, for imparting his valuable knowledge and experience as a guest speaker for the online career talk CN Promotion 2020 RND Set Go. Given this 17th day of October 2020, signed Isaiah Emmanuel Sugitan and Luciana Vic Silva, CN Promotion 2020 co-heads, Maria Crisha Ballesteros, Vice President for Records and Communication, yours truly, Pan Alpha President, and Ms. Kimberly Paromo, Registered Nutritionist Dietitian, Pan Alpha Advisor. Thank you so much, Sir Aaron. And then, the same certificate of appreciation is hereby granted to Ms. Madeline C. Calalo, Registered Nutritionist Dietitian. The same certificate of appreciation is hereby granted to Ms. Riza Marie Magbuhat Edradan, Registered Nutritionist Dietitian in the Philippines and Registered Dietitian in the United States of America. Thank you also. The same certificate of appreciation is hereby granted to Mr. Andre B. Flores, Registered Nutritionist Dietitian. And last but definitely not the least, The same certificate of appreciation is hereby granted to Mr. Carl Lenin DR Danganan, Registered Nutritionist Dietitian. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you din. So, ano pala, Pan, sana maano ninyo, no? You can keep track sino yung mga nag-attend dito, tapos because of this, nag-apply sila. So, hopefully, para may ganun mga data, evidence, di ba? Tama? Para makita yung ating, effectiveness. Tama. Correct. So, sabi nga ni Ma'am Cherry, no, if it's not documented, it did not happen. So,
yes, sir. We will surely do that. And so, thank you very much, Sir Glenn, and to our speakers for sharing their time with us today. Ayan. So, to formally end our program, may we call on Mr. Isaiah Emmanuel Sugitan, Project Head of RND Set Go, for his closing remarks.
Hello, guys. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank everyone that attended the event. So, I would also like to thank po si Sir Andrew, si Sir Andre, si Sir Carl, and si Ma'am Kalalo po, and si Ma'am Cherry po for sharing all of your thoughts po and your insights po on CN and Nutrition and Dietetics. I hope that our event has inspired a lot of our high school students to choose community nutrition po for their UPCAT. And for sa mga shifties po dyan, so baka may mga nanonood po tayong mga nag-aspire po na shifties, sana po piliin po natin ang community nutrition kasi we know, based naman po sa mga narinig natin na talagang kailangan natin ngayon ang nutritionist dietitians. We need them more than ever in our healthcare team. And more importantly po, I hope that a lot of people would choose to be RNDs po, not only for serving people, but most especially po for serving the Filipino people po, yung mga nasa kanayunan po, yung mga talagang nangangailangan po ngayon ng tulong po natin. Yun lamang po at maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Sugitan, and thank you as well to all of our speakers and attendees for this event. And so before you guys leave the Zoom room, may we request that everyone open their cameras for the photo op. But then if hindi po kaya, it's okay. So pictures taken shall be used for documentation purposes only, and these shall be posted in our official social media channels. Also, for the evaluation form of the event, it's already been sent dyan sa chat box natin. So kindly fill out if you have the time. Thank you. And so kindly open your cameras.
Let's just smile as our documentation team is taking the pictures. So just give us your smile. So schools that wish to request a certificate of acknowledgement may do so by sending us an email, upd.panalpha@gmail.com. That's our email. So please send us an email if you wish to get acknowledgement. So R&D Set Go would not be possible if not for Pan Alpha and our partner organizations UP Namnama and the UP Educator Circle. Also, special thanks to UP like Club Français, UP IECEP, and the UP College of Home Economics Student Council. For more CN or ND related information, please like our official page, that's Philippine Association of Nutrition Alpha Chapter. Follow us on Twitter @PanAlpha and subscribe to our official YouTube channel, also named Pan Alpha. I'm Reginald Mag-Usara and with my co-host Dave Ang. Thank you very much for attending and hope to see you soon, future R&Ds.
Maraming salamat!
Thank you so much for attending, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
We can start leaving now the Zoom room.
Maraming salamat.
Okay. Good job, guys.
Thank you po.